Oye, ¿y cómo ha estado el audio? Yo no lo chequé.
Bien,
¿Sí?
bien, sí, yo he
Súper.
visto los videos después de puestos y súper, ha estado súper. Espera que demora un poquito como en coger.
¿Listo?
Sí.
Hey everyone. This is going to be our last day of 2020. So let's try to finish strong, which means for us, I'm probably going to do my worst painting of the year today. But what we're going to do today is actually pretty cool. So remember, if you want to download a reference photo and if you want to paint alongside us, that would be awesome. And I think it would be really cool, and interesting today because we're going to do something a little bit different. What we're going to try to do is not paint the whole of that image that I'm sending you. And I realize that, it's probably not the best photograph ever. It's not going to have amazing resolution once you zoom into it. But today it's going to be about choice. So ideally, we are all going to look at this photo and the drive behind today's exercise is going to be pick something. Pick a moment of this photograph. This photograph is in a way going to play the role of an expansive, universe, and it's actually putting us right in the middle of the problem that we face when we have to paint something, which is what is going to be that something? What am I going to paint? Now, I don't want to say that we have to define ourselves by that, choice, but if we do, reflect when attempting to make that choice consciously, we are going to learn so much about ourselves. We're going to learn, what we are naturally attracted to. So in that sense, we are going to recognize how our sensibility is shaped, and we are ultimately and hopefully going to see how our perception is constructed. Perception is a very weird and complex thing because it has to do with, all the variables that accompany our lives. The manner in which we were brought up. The beliefs that actually shaped our families or the places that we were brought up in. The actual geographical place that we belong to or that we occupy or that we have lived in for moments of our lives. So it's a very varied kind of set of variables that have actually all contributed to the manner in which we see things. Seeing things is not just a universal thing. That's why when we go to class or when we attempt to paint something like, let's say, plein air, no two people are going to see the exact same thing when they're looking at the exact same moment of nature. That is just something that we have to understand and we have to accept. But that's the coolest thing about art, that we're never going to be able to genuinely observe the exact same thing. There's no such thing as objective observation, objective perception. So this exercise is kind of like a mock setup where we're trying to say, hey, pick something. Just travel through this image. This is just a found sort of still life where you just actually have to pick something. And sure, you're not going to be able to have perfect access to all the information, like all the minutia that is part of the smallest areas of this image. But that's fine. Just be aware that you're going to be reinterpreting what you're seeing, which is, again, reinterpreting nature is exactly what painting means. Painting's not there to just echo, with the most fidelity nature, because it can't. You can't reproduce nature absolutely faithfully based on 6 colors that you put in the palette. No. It's always going to be an interpretation. So today we're going to focus in on that. We're going to talk about choice. And I'm going to start by saying that my choice, I didn't know this, by the way. I had no idea what we were going to do. So this came to me. Like 5 minutes ago. But I think it's a cool exercise. And I actually think it works based on the nature of what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is actually pick a moment that is farther to the right of the image, which is, those little bit of branches that are just kind of leaning against that white board and that piece of glass. It looks like glass or plexiglass or something like that. And there's there's a broomstick, I think, also in the back. I'm not so fond of that broomstick, but I want to follow the trail of that branch. So it's going to be a very nice kind of graphic painting. Graphic in the sense that I'm really going to concentrate on just that, that shape. I'm going to concentrate solely on that shape. So I think it's going to be nice, I hope. And I wanted to scribble, if I can find my colored pencil. I wanted to see if I could scribble something that is going to give me an idea of what I want to compose. And I think I'm going to push everything towards the right of the image. So it's going to be very, right heavy, I guess. And I think the easiest way for me to tackle this, maybe, it's just by doing, this is the angle where those boards and that glass is kind of leaning. And then here comes the branch. I'm not going to draw it. I'm just going to think of angles and distances, and that's about it. By the way, that's how Dickinson defined drawing, just angles and distances. That's the way he said it, Edwin Dickinson, one of the brightest and most amazing painters ever. One of my top 5 for sure. We've already said Olga Woznanska, Edwin Dickinson, for sure. That's, 2 of the greatest painters ever. So that angle for the branch, and I think it goes a little bit farther down. Again, I want to occupy all this space if I can. Maybe I have to drop this lower because I'm not going to have, room for the leaves here. So maybe let's just drop this a little bit, make it smaller. I always have a problem with making things a little smaller. I'm the sort of person that if you give me this sort of paper, I want to really occupy everything, and I end up just drawing everything outside. My proportions go out of whack, and I try to, kind of expand the forms outside the surface. So, and it could be this paper or it could be a wall, and I would always want to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know, but that's just my thing. My problem, I guess. That's a drawing problem for sure. Here, that's good. So I'm not really thinking about leaves or anything right now. I'm just thinking of this mass of leaves. It's okay. That angle is the one I'm interested in. I don't care about what it is or what it represents. No, just an angle. I guess that's good. If you have problems with your drawing, try to do something that's very, very simple, which is draw quicker. Because if you draw quicker, if you go from one space to the next very, very quickly, it may seem like you are just haphazardly moving through the drawing, but if you're trying to check your angles while you're doing that, and if you do it quickly, it'll also guarantee that you don't spend too much time on one moment of the drawing. And that's actually very good. So by moving down, I realized that this mass, I was making that mass a little too big, which is hurting me because I would love to paint, this thing that I'm seeing, these little bunch of leaves that I'm seeing here. I would love to paint them a little bit large, about that size. But that would mean that I would have to sacrifice the kind of trail of the branch that goes down here. And that's not cool. So right now I have to say, if I want to do, if I want to keep this distance and then this kind of little branch here that touches down here, which I'm kind of fine because then I'm activating that edge and this edge, and that's kind of cool. That kind of tells me already, okay, now I can activate this edge And if this is very empty, it's going to be really nice because it's going to push everything here, and it's going to feel really nice and weighted towards the right side. But I'm not going to be able to do that mass, that really nice mass over here. By the way, I don't know if you guys like when I talk while I'm doing all this, like I'm thinking out loud, or if you'd much rather just see me work and not, kind of tell you guys what I'm thinking, out loud. So just let me know. If it's too much talking, I'll just draw and shut up. But anyways, so that's that branch. I'm gonna keep talking until someone says, just shut up and start painting. That's good. Good.
No, I think it's great that you talk.
Okay, good. I mean, for the one person that said that, good. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to suppose that you're voicing your Vox Populi. You're talking for everyone. So, fantastic.
No, hay mucha gente que diciendo. Y están saludando.
Hey.
Está Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Camila.
Those reindeer ears. Gorgeous. Beautiful.
Camila.
Hola, Camila.
Está Vincent.
Hey, Vincent.
Está AJ.
AJ always. AJ's my rock. I mean, all of you guys. But AJ, come on. She's quoted me. AJ has quoted me for like 240 videos. I mean, I can't even find, 240, things that are worth repeating in all the things that I've said throughout the year. Somehow AJ has found, something that makes me sounding, intelligent over the course of, 240 videos. So God bless you. You're amazing. That's the best editing that I could have ever not paid for. So thank you.
Mira, dice Nico Dani, hola, Inmaculada desde Londres.
Uy, Inmaculada. Estábamos viendo con Dani tus pinturas, Inma. Hace 5 minutos.
Antes de empezar, sí.
Antecillos de empezar, estábamos viendo la página de la malagueña.
Sí, no, pues hay muchísima gente, pero si te digo nombre.
So I think that's yeah. I mean, it's a scribble for now. It's nothing, but it's telling me that it's going to be a nice shape. I don't, why I don't like that broomstick, and hopefully, you guys that are working alongside, this doesn't make sense. Anything, because if you're painting something that's actually on the left side of the painting, if you picked like one bag, or if you're painting, I don't know, a piece of cardboard, like the cardboard box, which was really cool too. What I'm saying right now makes no sense, but I'm going to still say it. I don't like, because there's only so few shapes, so few bigger shapes in this whatever this image is going to be. I don't like that there's, that these feel parallel. And that's why I don't like the broomstick, because it's actually kind of mirroring exactly that gesture, that I have right here. And it's just annoying. When rhythms repeat themselves, when you have this in an image, your eye just loves it. Your eye just goes immediately to that rhythm, and it stays there, and it just goes boom, 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 boom. And, we love things that repeat themselves. That's why we love pattern. We have such an attraction to pattern. And that's great if you want that, but I think that there's too little things. This is a very simple, subtle painting, hopefully. Hopefully I can pull it off, but, maybe not. Who cares? But there's too, few things going on just to have such a, big repeating pattern here, at least in these two gestures. So I don't want that. I'm going to take that away, and obviously we can do it. Remember, we can do anything in a painting. It's our painting. Salud. It's our painting, so we can do absolutely anything we want. So, and there's even a board here that I'm not super keen on, but maybe we do it. But what I do like is that this board behind here is actually giving me contrast. Because of that light board, I can actually concentrate on the, on the dark, quote unquote, dark value of these of these branches. So that's going to be nice. It looks like nothing here, absolutely nothing. And maybe it's going to look like nothing when I'm done. But yeah, that's the when I saw that image, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for sure. Like that's where I want my, or I even just accepted that that's where my kind of vision landed. So that's actually a very cool thing that I think I usually do, which is I don't question why my vision landed there. I just answer. It's like don't ask why. Just go there and try to investigate why. I always feel very kind of eager to do that. It's almost like your dad telling you, just because, do this just because. You don't need to know. You don't need to you don't need any particularly good reasons for doing it. Just because I'm your dad. So this is my dad is this painting and it's just telling me like, okay, do this, go there. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so I think we're good. I am going to use medium again, and I put this yellow because I am going to want to do some nice greens up here. Nice greens in the sense that they have some saturation. So I want to have at least this range of yellows. Going from, this is more of it's leaning towards a cat yellow. It's not so much, you can actually see the little bits of lemon yellow that remained from past sessions. Look how much orange that is. So this is actually a little bit closer to a cadmium lemon yellow. So it's a mix of both. Not quite a cat yellow. Cat yellows are far more orange. Remember, cat yellow is a yellow orange. Lemon yellow is like a yellow green. But if we have this range of yellow and of a lemony, orangey yellow and an earth yellow mixed with my blue, that's going to be the range of greens that I'm going to have, which I think it's pretty nice. So I think between that and if I want grayer ones, this makes beautiful greenish grays, by the way. Any yellow that you have here that's a little bright and a little light mixed with like raw umber, delicious. So that's very nice. So I'm happy with that. This one is a Michael Harding, but I didn't buy it. It just came, here it is. It just came as a complimentary little color. It was like one of those little color, like boxed primary color sets that they send you. And they send me this, I don't know from where, maybe directly from them, but they sent it. Many stores do that. You get these as a, just as a gift for buying some other color. And I remember I was buying the fast drying Michael Harding and the titanium white number 3, which I can't seem to find anymore. It's not as easy to get. And these came in. So I was like, okay, that's good. That's like a yellow lake. And I'm not usually, very crazy about those more kind of lakey, transparent yellows. But I did use it. I think I used it throughout the year also in a couple of weeks. And I think I even spoke about that particular color. So I liked it. It's probably not a color that I would buy, to be 100% honest. But I've liked it. I think it's made. I think it's been useful. It's been proven to be useful for what I was working with. By the way, this thing that I'm doing, I didn't invent this. This is all. I think I talked about it sometime. But that's Richard Schmidt, by the way. I saw that in one of his videos, and because I would always do. I'm going to do it in my palette, but if I needed a sharp edge, I would grab like a flat, a flat to give me flat. That would give me like the chance to do a very nice kind of straight line. And that's the only way I would paint edges, because it's the most basic way to paint edges and to understand edges. But it requires your brush to be really nice and to hold its shape after many sessions of painting. And these are cheap brushes. These are very, very cheap brushes, and they really get splayed like after a couple of paintings. But they're actually kind of, when they're sharp, they're actually really nice, at their tip. So actually it's dirty underneath there, but anyways. Oh, fudge! I didn't clean my palette. Sorry. I was retouching yesterday's painting this morning because I was like, I'm not happy with it, and I felt a little like, I can't do this, and it had already sold, and I was like, oh my god, if I mess it up, people are gonna get pissed. But no. He was super cool, and he already said, oh, you kidding me? That looks better. That looks so much better. That's awesome. Anyways, so remember, there's not just one way of always doing a stroke. You can use just the traditional way to paint a stroke, which is a very Sargent way. But when I saw this, when Schmidt was doing it, I was like, oh my god, that's such a kind of organic and broken, but not really, but sharp, but not really way of painting a brushstroke that I fell in love with it. I was like, yeah, I want to use that. Sorry. It's just that there's a lot of paint underneath there. And I always, when I want my darks to be clean, that's when I get most exasperated with like my tendency to be dirty, because it doesn't happen often because I paint super, super gray, but if I really need a dark, I'm like, come on, and I land on an area of my palette that's dirty. Ugh, frustrating. So I'm just gonna start painting little shapes here. It's probably gonna look like nothing. I'm already saying this is a disclosure. This is gonna look bad for about an hour and a half, okay? So if you wanna leave, fine. I mean, traders, but fine. But it's not gonna look great for a little bit, but then it's gonna look okay, I think. I can't guarantee great, I can't say that it's gonna look awesome, but I think it's gonna look okay. So, but it's gonna take a little bit, and I have to be really, really mindful and very careful of almost every single choice that I make. So, yeah, perfect painting to finish the year. So.
¿Tengo preguntas?
Sí, están preguntando.
Sí. Hay una random. Dice, Aaron asks if you were given $20 to fill.
Is this Aaron from yesterday, like favorite food, Aaron? Maybe?
If you were given $20 to fill a bag with random items for a child to find, what would you put in the bag?
$20 for a random child. So $20 for any
random items, o sea, for a child.
Oh no, okay, random items for a child, not random childs. I love the idea of random childs. Just you walking around and there's just a kid with no parent or any sort of guardian or anything. He's just running right in front of you, into oncoming traffic. Oh God, I love that question, but I have to take more time with it. Let me think. But that just sounds creepy though. It's like, oh, I'm gonna leave. So it sounds like a child trap. It sounds like I'm the witch of like Hansel and Gretel, and this is just a way to catch kids and to then eat them. So I don't know. I feel kind of creepy about this. But thank you, Aaron, for just filling our last day with just absolute uncomfortable vibe. But let me think. No, I actually like it. I actually like that. I really like that. There has to be Legos. Yes.
But $20?
Oh yeah, Legos are not. Yeah, no, yeah. A Lego. Like two pieces of No, a Lego. Could you imagine just giving somebody who's never even seen Legos a Lego? No, that could be amazing though. That could spur their creativity. Like that actually could be the answer. There's a Lego, just one. Let us see what they're gonna do with it. Because I guess the idea is to just kind of things that would jumpstart. What you're referring to is hopefully things that would jumpstart a kid's creativity. I think that's the coolest scenario for that would be stuff that would just make the kid's head just go crazy and say, wow. And that you couldn't believe that you left X and they did Y with it, that you were like, oh my God, I left you these tools, let's say you're not, leaving power tools, but and they did this. So that's amazing. Maybe a piece of chalk, maybe? Yeah, that could be cool. You know, when I was a kid, we used to draw, ¿cómo se dice golosa? Hopscotch.
Sí, no tenía ni idea.
Hopscotch. We used to draw like hopscotch on the pavement, like every single time. And I used to love playing it, but I used to love, going home because it was late, and then waiting to see if the next day the drawing had survived. So there's something very basic, very beautiful about just drawing on a piece, drawing with a rock, because that's what we use, just rocks, on a piece of sidewalk. So yeah, definitely that. So a Lego, a chalk, colored chalk, or colored, no, maybe a rock, yeah, like, one of those kind of brick colored rocks. Where I lived, it was super exciting because you could find like yellow colored rocks, brick colored rocks, the whiter one that I guess had like chalk in them. What else? Honestly, we're like $2 in. I mean, I probably have like $18 to go. So I'm doing amazing. In that sense, I'm doing incredible. What else? Tú sugiere, tú. Estás pensando, te oigo pensar.
No sé por qué pienso como una cuerdita o como un caucho. Yo jugaba mucho.
Oh, a piece of rope. Yes, piece of rope. Piece of rope, for sure. Yeah. You could do anything with a piece of rope.
Y le meto el resto de la plata para que se compre un juguito o algo.
Yeah, pero no, porque será un niño que. So Danny was saying just leave some money behind so he can buy just like a juice,
Pues si va a
Just
jugar
go,
golosa,
hey kid,
y
get
va
yourself
a
some
dibujar.
food. Get yourself some food. Although if there's random kids just walking around, you would think that they have enough, like they're gonna have enough ability to just go to a store and buy something for themselves. So, yeah, maybe. What if what if you leave like $10 and they come out with like a pack of cigarettes? Fucking kids.
O un libro para colorear, ¿no te gustaban? A mí me encanta.
Pero ya les dimos una tiza, ya pueden dibujar en la calle, no necesitan un libro. Oh, a book, but in a language that they don't speak. Nice. An illustrated book. Okay, an illustrated book in a language that they don't understand. So they're going to have to really think about, they're going to have to like try to make connections of what words may mean, whatever they're looking at. So yeah, that could be very cool too. I just want something where they have to make the connections, and it's not just something that's, I'm going to give them a hammer and a nail, and then they know exactly what that tool is for. No, it would be really nice if they could just invent whatever. If you give them a hammer and they use it for something completely different, that would be awesome. I think we're good, dude. No, and I would keep the rest of the money. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I charge for thinking so much. So yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, kid doesn't need anything else. Danny left a little. No, or we can leave just like a juice, like a bit of like a thermos with some lemonade.
No, qué miedo.
No, yeah. They're not gonna drink that. They shouldn't drink that. That's actually a test. It's like, why did you drink it, you idiot? You can't drink stuff that you find. Yeah, no. It would have to be just money so that they can buy something. What about an egg? An egg.
Mm-mm.
No, well, you can eat a raw egg. That's totally fine. You can't leave anything for them to cook with. That's a little. Because I'm thinking, what age are we talking about? By the way, we're taking way too long with this idea, but I'm running with it. So, but what age group were you thinking about, Aaron? Because this is very important now.
¿Te va haciendo otra mientras?
No. I need to figure all everything out before I go to another question. And I'm sorry for the people that think this is terrible. So, we're actually going to stay here for a little bit.
Lázaro says magnets.
Magnets were always cool. Yes.
Sí.
Magnets were always cool.
No.
Or we should leave a magnet and everything else is like wood. So they have no clue why, they're like, what is this for? Stupid thing.
No.
By the way, there's a construction. We don't even know if, with Danny, we've been suffering through the morning because one of the reasons we moved, and by the way, we moved like to the building literally right next to where we used to live. But one of the reasons we moved is because they were going to, as the truck just beeps by, but they were going to just demolish the kind of house that was right next to us, and they're going to build this like 9-story building, right? And they're actually starting that construction right now. But because we moved in, but because we moved like right, in the building right next to the one that we were at, we can still hear it. I mean, it's not going to be as bad as it would have been if we were living there right now, but we obviously hear it. And today, I guess they were digging, where those really kind of deep holes that they have to dig so that they can put all the columns that they're going to build where they're going to start, where they're going to use as columns for the building. And that has been the sound that has accompanied like all like our morning. So we were like, last day, and this is what we're getting. So we're sorry, but that's even next year, for sure, you guys are gonna hear a lot of that. Even when I'm doing voiceovers, it's almost inevitable that some of that is gonna just bleed through. So. Aaron, did you answer? What age are we talking about? Because I've been thinking like that. I've been supposing that these kids are like 6, maybe 5, 6 or 7, which would be cool. I mean, they're fine by themselves, just roaming around the street, but still a little too young. Like for the overprotective parents, such as myself, that think that there's that there's danger in every single step that a child takes. That 6-year-old just walking around in the street alone is a little too scary for me. So, what were you thinking? I'm sorry.
He answered, but he didn't give a number. He says, if it were for a child to find, I think it would have to be something that would appeal to all age groups.
Oh,
But
dude, that's
perhaps-
harder.
But perhaps it would be best to speak to your personal favorite age as a child.
Oh, dude, like 7, maybe. And perhaps that's why I was going there. For me, that's my best. I think that's the best years. Because you don't know anything. I mean, I don't know anything still, so yeah. But when you're a child, when you're 7, you can still be in awe of everything, even of the stupidest things in this universe. But you still kind of know stuff. But you're not completely ignorant. So it's not like you're gonna put you're gonna see fire and you're just gonna walk in front of it. So 7 would be awesome for me. After that we just become kind of boring, I feel.
¿Te hago otra pregunta?
Yeah. Sí.
Eh,
So yeah, I played the game and I just I left some stuff for the kids and I'm walking home with like $15 in my pocket. So what a beautiful day. Perfect day for me if you ask me. Perfect day.
Oye, una bola 8. A mí
¿Una bola?
siempre quise tener eso. De chiquito.
No, porque va a pensar que es, o sea, si Danny's saying like an 8-ball, like a magic 8-ball, but if you've never seen a magic 8-ball, you're gonna say that you're gonna think that that thing is like
The best
wicked,
thing
you know.
you've ever seen.
No, or you think it's gonna like actual witchcraft. That's
No,
almost
it's
like showing
magic.
up in the like 13th century with a cell phone.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably take them like what 10 minutes to figure out that if they move the thing, it just says stuff. But how do they know that they have to ask the thing questions? They're only going to see like this statement that the ball says. They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, that those are answers." Like it's prompting me to ask something so that I should just say stuff.
But that's cool too.
Yeah, but then it would just be a ball that says random stuff. But you know what, though? It would be like Wilson, you know, in the, ¿cómo se llama el náufrago en inglés?
O sea, no sé.
Yo tampoco.
Castaway.
In Castaway, like Wilson, like the child eventually... Now, this is the other thing. I'm thinking that this kid has no friends. Like, this kid is just alone in this world.
A ball. Una bola.
A ball. Yeah, we left, without a ball. That's terrible. How could we not give this kid a ball? It's amazing how, when you think about, the things that we should give a child, it's like we're cavemen again. It's like the simplest and the most basic of things. It's like a stick, a rock, a ball, and, a Nintendo Switch.
Con 20?
$20. Yeah, you could buy it off the street.
Otra pregunta. Does he try to get the likeness of the portrait in the drawing stage before he starts painting? Pregunta Robert. Que Robert ha estado todos los días.
Oh, thank you, Robert. Yeah, a little weird answering that today, that I'm painting leaves, but, I'm still trying to get the character of the leaves, so, it may seem disconnected to speak about portraits today, but in essence, it's the same thing if you just think of drawing. And I don't know. I don't really think of likeness. I'm sort of liberated. I've sort of liberated myself from likeness. And the reason I think I've done so is because I have seen many of my paintings, throughout the years suffer from being understood as successful if I got close to who I wanted to paint, and unsuccessful if I didn't. So I would think of them as just being, these terrible experiences when I wasn't able to evoke the person that was in front of me if I was painting from life, or this person that had hired me to do a portrait. I always kind of thought, oh God, this has to be like the best version of this person for it to be an interesting painting. And I never liked that. I never liked that this idea of likeness had so much power over an image. So I started convincing myself that there's far more interesting things that you can do. And one, even if it sounds a little kind of abstract and esoteric, just thinking of how someone feels, it's actually far more interesting to me than just saying, oh, I have to paint their likeness, and that's about it. So I started concentrating on really pushing myself to say, does this feel like them, or does this feel like the way does it feel like them, and does it also echo the way I feel when I'm looking at them? What I perceive of them and how I, kind of understand them. And more importantly, how do I understand them through painting? I guess that's also the most important thing. Oh wow, this looks like 4 colors. This is gonna be a long session, I'm telling you. Now I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do?
There's a question that became a conversation.
Oh, okay. I want to be part of it.
It says,
If you guys don't mind.
I'm a young artist. I'm going to Fine Art High School and I can share what I'm doing because I can't like any of them. I feel like they all should be perfect. Please help. And another person said, same, I just feel like it's low-key embarrassing sometimes.
Dude, no. Like, it's almost like rip off that Band-Aid. Just show it. Because you're never, that feeling of just complete insecurity about what you're doing. Oh my God. I don't know if you've heard me for the last 5 minutes, but that feeling is really surfacing when I say stuff like, oh dude, what did I get into? And this is not going the way I planned. And, all these comments have been just me saying, Jesus, what am I doing? Like, this is going to be tougher than I thought. And it's fine. Like, I don't feel pressure to do a great painting, if I have to be completely honest with you. Like, I think it's fun to challenge myself, and I think every single painting is challenging, but even for me, dude, like, there is sort of inherent pressure in what we do because this is how we make a living. So, I'm thinking, oh God, this painting has to, I have to give this painting the best, possibility of being good and looking good and hopefully being sold at the end. And dude, honestly, I never ever give that a moment's thought because I know it's there. I know that thought is always going to be in my mind, but I don't want to care about it. I don't want to give it relevance or importance because it's not worth it. So in that sense, trust me, you're always going to be insecure. You're always going to find reasons to feel insecure about what you're doing. But it's up to you to say, yeah, it's not worth it. Like, this is not, I'm not going to, again, I say it in this way. Like, I'm not going to grant this, whatever this is, this in your case, or maybe for me many times too. But this could be a bad image, we could understand this as just an unsuccessful image. But I always tell myself, I'm not going to give this so much power that it just destroys my confidence, like that it's going to, kind of walk all over me and just remind me that I'm not as good as I wish I was, and that I'm never going to, and this is going to be super painful and super tough to actually go down this road where I have to be better and just get better at what I do. No. If anything, I'm just, and if you want to look at it, I know it's tough because these experiences tend to be insanely frustrating, but if you want to look at it this way, just be grateful. Just really switch it up. I know this is tough, but I mean, look at what I'm doing right now. It's honestly, this is what, I would find if for the $20, I would have left a piece of paper and some paints, and the child would have painted for 4 minutes. And I've been painting for 30, 40. Yeah, thank you. So honestly, I expect this for a child, for this random child that found this, I don't know, in the woods, maybe. I expect something of this, like this, and I don't care. I don't mind. This is. I know where I'm headed. Like I have blind faith in myself, even when I suck. So I'm totally fine with this. But just be grateful. Be grateful to the chance that this image is giving you to grow. And maybe growing, we can define it as this horrible painting that is giving me a super hard time, and where I invested hours, today painting, and it came out like shit. And maybe that's how, what that painting means. And maybe it's asking of us to make this great effort and say, I wasn't expecting to find a possibility of growing in this, godforsaken horrible act, but maybe it is there just for that sole reason. Maybe it's there so that I can understand what my weaknesses are and understand what I have to work on. Maybe it's a reminder that I have to concentrate a little bit more, that I have to be a little more sensitive. there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson behind an unsuccessful painting. And it's your job to just say, oh, F this. Are there kids in the, it's our last day. We can sort of curse, but it's your prerogative. It's your choice to say, oh, fuck this painting, and throw it to the garbage and not show it and say, yeah, today was crap. I just want to, curl up in a ball and just repeat to myself, 100 times that I suck, that I'm worthless. I just started to paint. Why the hell did I want to paint? When did I start believing that I could be a painter? All the kind of self-destructive things that we painters usually tell ourselves. But you could do that, or you could say, oh, fuck, today was tough. Like, today was very, very tough. And, you could take a little bit of time. You can feel sorry for yourself. That's totally fine. Like, that's completely fine. And trust me, I've felt plenty sorry about myself, and I've gotten pissed with myself, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm never going to tell anyone, like, oh, just, suck it up and don't feel like that. No, come on. It's totally normal to just say, wow, this was overwhelming today and I feel like crap, and do whatever you do. Cry, just shut up and listen to music, don't do anything, just take a walk, whatever you want. But when you get back, try to say, okay, what happened? Okay, today was hell, but what happened? Like, was it my fault? Like, was I able to do something about this and I just didn't because I just couldn't concentrate, or I just, I just wasn't there. I'm trying to paint while I'm still hungover, and I honestly can't do that. Or, just try to figure out what happened. And if the things that you realize have, prompted you to have a bad experience that day, then then try to change them, try to get better at them. It's always going to require some effort, so don't be kind of discouraged by me just telling you, hey, you can actually do better. Like, you could probably have done a little bit better here if you were a little more concentrated. Like, that's totally fine. That's not destructive, or that's kind of gentle and nice, and just telling yourself, dude, fuck, I need to do better. I was, maybe you started really well. I don't know why I said started really well, as if this is like a really nice example of starting really well. This is all over the place. But maybe you started really well and it looked really nice, and then you just got you were overconfident and you just ruined everything. And that just shows you, like, I have to be there. I have to be present through the whole execution of my painting. I can't just take stuff for granted and say, oh, this was a great start, and then I suddenly just kind of I was gliding through the painting, and I just ruined it. I completely ruined the painting. So, it's a choice. Remember, everything is a choice. Everything we do in life is a choice. So you can choose to see what's good about, that experience, or you can just throw it and say, this was worthless, and I am worthless, and why did I ever believe that I could paint? So Danny gives me a lot of, no, she doesn't give me crap. She actually loves that painting. But this is a post that I have because I'm kind of proud of it. But I have, if you look at my Instagram, I don't know where it is, so don't worry. You would probably have to scroll a lot. But maybe some people here that have followed me for a little bit, they know the fist pumping baby. The black and white fist-pumping baby with butterfly wings that has a strawberry where his little penis should be. That's totally rock and roll, by the way. That could have so been a 1995 grungy rock album cover. Like, I could totally see that on a CD, by the way. But if you've ever seen that, I don't know if Danny can actually take 2 minutes scrolling through my Instagram and then posting the link. That I painted on my first year in college, in art school. That was a painting I actually did in my first year in in art school at SVA. So yeah. So we can all get better. We can all start from anywhere, and dude, we can have conversations about how fucking dope that baby is. And I know, with the passing of time, I can tell that baby kicks ass. I used to be really harsh on that baby, but we can also say, yeah, that sucked. That is terrible. So yeah, we all start somewhere,
Espérate, voy haciendo.
like this painting.
Nicolás trabaja de pie.
Trabajaba de pie. Cuando doy talleres, sí tiendo a pintar mucho de pie, a menos de que las personas estén sentadas. Pero para mis pinturas, y en particular las pinturas grandes, que hacía, no quiero decir hacía como si fuera un pasado que ya nunca voy a visitar. Incluso, bueno, a mí no me gusta anticiparme a las cosas, pero incluso le hablaba a Dani que, por ejemplo, podemos hacer un proyecto después de este que sea como la elaboración de pinturas mucho más grandes, digamos. No quiero decir complejas, como si hacer esto que, o sea, en este momento me estoy ahogando. O sea, estoy tratando de pintar unas ramitas con unos pedacitos de hojas y me estoy literalmente ahogando. O sea, pintar es difícil y no importa qué esté pintando uno. Esta es como una prueba una ¿qué? Esta es la mejor manera de probarle a uno que esto es jodidísimo, de recordarle a uno que esto es dificilísimo. Pero volvería a hacer esas pinturas solo porque me da curiosidad cómo las abordaría, habiendo ya estado trabajando unos años en formatos pequeños, en formatos así súper pequeñitos. Me interesa mucho, pues, como darme cuenta de si cambió la manera como percibo ese tipo de obra, o si esto me ha hecho como ser mucho más seguro cuando pinto. No sé, me da mucha curiosidad. Pero entonces, digamos, no podríamos seguir con la dinámica que hacemos en el proyecto de ahorita, porque obviamente tendría que ser o sea, tendríamos que mirar como sesiones de pintura, en lugar de decir vamos a hacer un ejercicio a la semana que tiene 5 posibilidades de ser resuelto, que son, digamos, exploradas a través de las 5 pinturas que hacemos. Entonces, pues no es que sean 5 posibilidades como si fueran las únicas 5, pero 5 posibilidades a las que llego yo, digamos. Ese siempre es como mi objetivo. Pero sí, sería súper bonito poder como hacer un trabajo que denote como otro ritmo de creación, y que obviamente está acompañado de un proceso de reflexión también súper distinto cuando uno está trabajando en una pieza más grande, que está compuesta como de momentos específicos, como chiquitos.
No lo encontré.
¿No?
No.
Pero está re abajo, Linda.
No, mira, estaba acá yo. Y no
¿Será más abajo? Yo no lo quité nunca. Nunca. ¿El
No,
bebé?
sería
Nunca.
una falta de
Never.
respeto.
No.
Ay, tú dijiste, yo te
Tiene
dije que a mí
como,
me
tiene como,
encantaba.
tiene como 30 likes. ¿Cómo lo voy a quitar?
Yo lo tengo, creo, en mi bitácora.
Pero tienes como una fotico toda... ¡Ah, mi foto!
Sí.
¿Será?
Ya voy, mira, espérate, hago otra pregunta.
Bueno. Danny thinks she has the photo. This is like an actual photo I took in my first year. So it obviously shows that I didn't know how to take photographs of that little detail of the painting, because she kept it. I think my mother has other photos of that painting. But my mother, she likes anything I do, so she has no taste in that sense.
Have you ever experimented much with mixed media, or is it oils all the way for you?
Nowadays saying mixed media is just such a broad term. So I'm gonna say yes, in the sense that I've done You know, as far as I've gone is like Rauschenberg maybe. So combines, you know, if I would have to just kind of fall back on a Rauschenberg term. So I'm gonna say yes, combines. So a mix of photography, maybe graphic work or print, reproduction, painting, drawing. Yeah, I've done some of that. And I like it. I actually like it. I do think that that's a super, super cool, you know, that's super exciting kind of image making. But, you know, beyond that, no, like audiovisual, I'm going to say no. I'm not good at that, to be perfectly honest. What else? Like sculpture, yeah, I like I said, combine. So I've had sculptural, you know, moments through some paintings. Yeah. But yeah, again, audiovisual, which would be super cool nowadays. Yeah, I guess that's not my sensibility. I wish I could say yes, but it's probably not. I'm more kind of old school. Yeah. So we're gonna look. This is a terrible photo, by the way.
Espérate, te digo si se ve.
It's super dark. It's obviously like underexposed and super grainy. This was probably like a 800 ASA film, but I just didn't understand how to expose in my camera. So you can tell these are Bob Ross-ish kind of mountains in the back. There's some glacier over here maybe also. So a very weird transition between the mountains, the darker mountains, and the ice. You can't see it, but there's a kid's hand here with a ball, with a fleshy ball, like a sphere. And here's a flower as a lotus, just in the ocean, let's call it. And then here's, again, my fist-pumping baby, kicks ass, major ass. Strawberry, because, I guess I had some commentary about censorship, so, I don't know. But it is, the most erotic moment of the painting, obviously. Butterfly wings. But if that wasn't enough with the butterfly wings, there's also hummingbird wings. Hummingbird. Yeah, Danny says that it looks like a broom. So, nice. But no. It's actually just double wings. A double-winged, putti. Yeah. So, yeah, I painted that when I was 18. A while ago, and I didn't know how to paint, but none of those are excuses. I mean, either this is just the ugliest painting that you've ever seen, or this is like the coolest painting that you will ever see. So it's your choice, by the way. It's your choice. And I think the two of those are fine, totally fine. But yeah, that was my painting. So this is where I started. Not even where I started, because my first painting was a pony in a stable. Like a kind of woolly pony in a stable. Not like one of those cool Lucian Freud horses. No. No. I don't have a picture of that. That would have been priceless. But this was, I think, my third large painting. These were like, maybe 3x4 paintings. So, yeah. So it wasn't just fucking up. It was just like majorly fucking up. This was just like, this is a big, ugly painting. It wasn't like a small painting. It's a big, ugly painting. So there you go. Whenever you feel like you can't share anything, remember, fist-pumping baby, strawberry. I remember it had a penis. I'm not saying like, oh, why are you supposing it has it was covering the little penis. No, it had a penis. So strawberry being the, ¿cómo se dice la hoja de parra? What's the fig leaf? Fig leaf? Yeah, hoja de parra. I'm remembering in Spanish. The fig leaf, right? It's the one that covered Adam and Eve. And so it was strawberry. Obviously, strawberry, very sensual. I was thinking about all these like complex subject matters when I was 18. And yeah, just a dash of color, a dash of chroma, high chroma with the wings. It's brilliant. It's actually brilliant. I mean, look at these two. This is me. Let's look at these two for like a second. This is me 20 years later, 20 years ago. Right now, if I would have to say, if we left these two photographs for that kid to find in the woods, I don't know why I'm saying in the woods, but if, the kid is picking the baby. The kid is saying, hell yeah, that rocks. The kid is not saying like, what the hell is that? What is that smudge of paint? So, maybe the kid knows something. So yeah, that's when every time you feel insecure about your painting because you think it all sucks. Well, actually think of this, but then remind yourself of fist pumping baby.
Se te ve la cara en el reflejo de la cosa muy chistosa.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí. Pero te veías así como alargada.
Como papada?
Sí.
Don papada? Okay, so let's get to paint because, I've been painting, but not really. No, but really, come on. It's actually a tough painting. Like, I could see it coming. I totally, and the fact that I just didn't do a really nice drawing, but I wanted to approach this in a very kind of loose fashion, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool and bold that I'm doing this, but of course it's going to be tough. So let's keep doing this. We have to do this like almost like blind faith, just to keep putting all these little colors down in the hopes of trying to understand the wholeness of the image. And eventually these pieces just kind of come together, and then I can start doing the cool part, I would say, maybe, hopefully, which is just picking little areas of the image and developing, those kind of smaller details. But we're so not there yet, so that's going to take some time.
Wilson Guevara pregunta,
¿Qué dice Wilson?
¿dónde está ese cuadro en la actualidad? Y si quisieras repetirla, ¿cómo la harías?
No sé si está en el Prado o en el Hermitage. Una de las dos. Estoy casi seguro que se estaban rapando. Eso fue una pelea terrible, súper incómoda para mí. Yo decía, bueno, a ver, curadores, no se maten. O sea, seguramente voy a ser capaz de hacer algo con este grado de capacidad que denote esta capacidad en el futuro también. Entonces, por favor. No, Wilson, seguramente esa pintura la boté a la caneca para usar los bastidores. Los bastidores eran más útiles que la pintura. Y no, el ejercicio era súper trivial. Yo me acuerdo que el ejercicio era pintar un collage. Pero pues pintar un collage puede ser 1000 cosas. O sea, yo no sé por qué terminé en algo tan ecléctico hoy en día, pero no sé si haría el bebecito. Creo que ya no pienso así, ya no pienso como de una forma tan exagerada. Ahora me volví como todo normalito, aburrido, que siento que un pedacito de basura en una esquina es más interesante que si ese bebecito se me apareciera, seguramente seguiría yo pintando el pedacito de basura que está en la esquina en vez de pintar al bebecito que está yendo a Rock al Parque.
Vincent Delano says, there's room to add a reflection of the flying baby in the mirror. Ahí en la pintura. O sea, tu mirror de esta, es que parece un mirror.
Oh, this looks like a mirror? We can drop something. We can drop a little hint just so that we know that we talked about the baby today. We'll see. But right now it's just little bits of color. So eventually, hopefully, they will configure something. Something. Are you guys painting alongside? Did you guys pick? You don't have to do the exercise. This is not me trying to, what do you call that? Trying to make you feel like crap and saying like, hey, you guys should paint along and you should be doing the exercise. So don't feel pressure. I'm not guilting you into doing the exercise. But some of you have been super cool. Not that the others that don't or can't paint alongside are not cool. You're all cool. But for the people that have been able to paint alongside, it's been so cool to see what you guys have done. It's awesome. Nobody. Thanks. Thank you for leaving me here, like, stranded.
Yes, I'm painting.
Nice.
Gabriel, 2 años. Es que estoy.
Grande, Gabriel, grande. Legal.
Diane McGrath.
Beleza.
Diane McGrath says yes.
Nice.
Es que estoy mirando preguntas
And hopefully you're having an easier time than I am. But we're gonna keep going. That's the promise.
You who represent serenity and silence in your portraits, what do you think of
Wow.
very expressive and dynamic portrait?
Wow, that's not. I just love the way you introduced, that first moment. Vuélvelo a decir. Sí, that's
You-
nice. It's almost like I'm coming from another kingdom, and this is my introduction. Go ahead, Danny.
Ni con mi inglés,
No, I like it. It's from a foreign land, so you can have bad English. That's fine. And Danny's so worried that her English is bad. Could you guys please tell her that it's not? Because she's always insecure about it, and she's obviously not, bad with her English. She speaks perfectly. So go ahead with the introduction. So imagine me. I show up like an elephant. Just riding an elephant, like an elephant.
You who represent serenity and silence in your portraits,
Thank
what
you.
do you think of
Thank you.
very expressive and dynamic
Thank you.
portrait?
Ye who represent serenity and yeah, I don't even me la vuelves se me olvidó ¿Qué es? What do you think of?
What do you think of very expressive and dynamic?
Oh, dude, I love that. And I mean, you're too kind. I mean, I'm making fun, but it's all like in hopefully in it's not ill-willed. But no, thank you for that. I think I'm drawn to that, but I'd like to believe that I'm also very expressive with what I do. There's plenty of portraits that I do that are expressive. I don't know how I don't know how far you want to go. I don't know if expressive for you is, I don't know, like Baselitz or Manolo Valdez, or I don't know how you define expressive portraits, because you could be speaking about Beckman, and you could be speaking about who's like, or Cecily Brown, let's say. I mean, she's abstract expressionist, but still there's some figurative in her. So there's such a huge range of saying expressive, like of when trying to define expressiveness. So, but I'd like to believe that I'm kind of there. I'm probably not quite, I don't know, de Kooning, like I said, Cecily Brown, but I'm more closer to, I don't know, like a Freudish sense of expressiveness sometimes. Sometimes, don't think that I just called myself, I'm not comparing myself to Freud. I'm not that dumb. I know better, so, but I'm just saying. I can probably feel comfortable there. But let's say, okay, this is a good example, British example. But I'm more Freud than Auerbach, for example. So, but I think I'm there. Close, not super close, but somewhat.
If you need money and are just starting out,
I just robbed a kid, by the way. I was supposed to buy $20 worth of stuff for a kid, and I kept 15. So if I need money, I steal from the kid.
and are just starting out.
If you, I would love it if you just showed up and you have no idea what I'm trying to reference. But anyways, okay. Sorry.
Voy a volver a empezar.
Sí.
If you need money and you're just starting out,
Puedes empezar, pero diciendo otra vez, you who.
you who need money.
No.
Bueno, and are just starting out, is it worth painting things will sell but don't necessarily love painting?
There you go. You're asking a cool question. How do you know they're going to sell? How do you know? For a fact. I mean, you speak about it like it's obvious. Like, no, yeah. And I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm just playing like devil's advocate here. But how do you know they're going to sell? How are you 100% sure that they're going to sell? So let me give you this scenario. Let's say you do. Let's say you paint an ugly piece of crap painting that you're like, oh, I'm only doing this because I need the money and I know it's going to sell. And you do it and you put it up for sale and it doesn't sell. Can you imagine how stupid you feel after, doing that painting? Because if you paint something you want, if you actually paint something you like and you want to paint and it doesn't sell, you at least tell yourself, well, I painted something that I love. At least I have that. Like I can actually say, I didn't, waste my time. I had that experience and I loved it. But when you paint something, you hate it, and you're convincing yourself that the only reason you're doing it is because it's commercial, and it doesn't sell, then, there's going to be fewer times in life that you feel stupider. Like, I'm totally honest here, because I have fallen. I'll give you an example. In one gallery that I used to work with here in Bogota, the director was amazing. Like, I would have stood beside him for the rest of my life. Like, he was incredible. He's like one of the most amazing relationships that edge is horrible, but I'll fix it later. He's one of the most amazing relationships that I've had ever with anyone, in the art world. He wanted to go because we had done super well in an art fair that we had been to in Spain, in Madrid. And he was invited to a fair that was themed, and the theme was like eroticism. And that it's painters. People usually think that painters just can pretty much do anything, and he was super kind, but he thought that if he asked me to do erotic paintings, I could do erotic paintings, and it's not something that comes naturally to me. I'm a sexual being. That's totally fine, and I accept that, and I have no problem with that. But I don't know if what I want to speak about in my painting is not about eroticism, and it's not about. I guess there's obvious moments of sexuality in some paintings, but it's not it's not like I'm painting. It's not like I'm doing a Chile drawing. So I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to paint. And he's like, well, you do very sensuous paintings. What if we do a series of paintings? And he was super kind. But he was like, what if we do a series of paintings where you combine, food with nudes? And I was like, oh my God, this sounds so stupid. I was like, obviously, in my mind, I was like, oh my God, this sounds so stupid. My answer to him, okay, let's give it a shot. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, this maybe could not suck, And I thought that I would do like Will Cotton-esque paintings. Do you guys know Will Cotton? I hope you guys do. If not, look him up. He's a very, very good painter. Will as in Will, and Cotton as in cotton candy. So it's pretty easy. And I thought I would have moments of paintings that would look, very kind of, scrumptious and just a delicious moments of painting. And, coupled with not like overtly sexual nudes, just a nude, just a bit of a nude. And it was just cliche and terrible. There were like bits of female, nudes, and it was terrible. It was all around just terrible painting, almost like tone-deaf painting, to be super honest. But I ended up doing 3 of those paintings, like large-ish paintings, I would say, medium-sized to large paintings. So about a meter by a meter 20, or a meter 20 by a meter 50. You guys do the math, because I can't think of that right now. But, and we didn't sell anything. That's the moral of the story. Like, I remember I wasted my Christmas break, because this was around, I remember this perfectly. This was around Christmas break, and we had already gone to like some fairs, and I had already done really well. So I was like, oh God, I can take a break. I don't have to paint for a little bit. And he was like, no, let's go to this fair. That was probably in January, I'm guessing. And I was like, are you sure? Like, and he was like, no, we're going to do great. We're going to do great. So we came up with the idea of the stupid, food paintings. But basically, it's again, I don't stand behind these paintings, but it was demeaning and sexualizing. It was dumb. It was women as food. So it's as stupid as you could get. So I'm not going to fall upon that sword. So don't worry. Like, I'm the first one to say these are stupid paintings. And thank God we didn't sell anything. And it was just a wake-up call for me, because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I could have I hope Vincent's daughter is not there with him, because I'm cursing a bit today. So I'm sorry, Vince. I love you, And your daughter, incredible. So just earmuff. I'm hoping that you can. I give you enough time, and you can kind of tell by my cadence when I'm speaking that, a curse is coming. So, anyways, but I felt so stupid. I was like, I could have rested. I could have, or thought about what I was going to do, and hopefully just done cooler paintings or cooler ideas for paintings. And no, what I ended up doing was wasting, probably a month. Yeah, like a month or a month and a half, maybe. No, it was probably a month. I worked really hard. I was painting like every single day, probably about 8-10 hours a day, just to do these dumb, stupid paintings. And I was done, and I mean, the paintings were done, but I was like, I'm never going to be happy about these paintings. This is so ridiculous. But he left with the paintings, and we didn't sell anything. And what was cool about it, if there's anything that's salvageable about this story, was that he came back and he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, you have to, I have to apologize because I should have never pressured you into painting these paintings. And yeah, I told him, no, dude, we've done well by just painting, what comes naturally and what I do well and what makes me happy. So why are we going to change? Like, why should we change? It doesn't make sense. So I guess it was a lesson for both of us. I mean, he got overly excited about the fair. He thought we were going to do fine. But yeah, it was good. But again, I felt very, very, very stupid because, in that occasion, it was him who thought that he knew what was going to sell. And he was if there's anyone that knew what sold, it was him. He was a genius at selling, anything. And I know this because he was a genius at selling my work, and my work is not easy to sell. I'm not a commercial painter by no means. I mean, some of you guys know me from just doing these, the stuff we do with Danny and with our channel. But I have like 20 years of painting behind where I did a ton of different paintings. I mean, really, really different paintings. So the one thing I heard from this guy when I was painting was, you do you and I'll sell your paintings. It's my job to sell your paintings. You just worry about painting and I'll sell them. And he was capable of doing that, which was amazing to me. So this was a person that I had put and I would put, and nowadays I would keep doing it. The only reason that we stopped, having this relationship was because he closed the gallery. He just, it was just way, way too expensive for him to keep doing that. But if he told me that he was about to open a gallery once again, I would put my life in his hands because he is that amazing. But that was a dumb decision that we both made. I'm not, throwing him under the bus and saying like, no, it was just you. Like, this was all you, dude. You made me work for a whole month to make these stupid, sexualized pieces of, donuts. I'm saying donuts because there were paintings that had donuts in them. So yeah, but it was both of us. It was both of us. And so when I tell you you're gonna feel so stupid when you realize that you didn't gain anything from that experience, and you thought, here's the part, you thought you knew what was gonna sell. You really thought you knew what was gonna sell. And now you have nothing to show for it. That is just so painful. Trust me, you're gonna feel so stupid. So might as well go out with a bang. If you're not gonna sell anything, and I always, I think that's my starting point. I never think oh yeah, we're gonna do amazing. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna struggle. Ask Danny. Initially for our channel, for this project, I told her, dude, if we sell 50%, 40%, we're gonna do amazing. This is gonna be awesome. That's our aim. 40% of the paintings. We've sold 100% of what we do. That's crazy. That is insane. It's insane how people have supported us. So, but my expectation was never that. My expectation was, yeah, we're not. we're not gonna do well here. So we're gonna struggle. So we better like buckle up for that, for all that disappointment. And no, life was amazing. Life was super, super generous with us. And I always say, well, life is great, and we were willing to answer to what people, to the efforts that people were making in supporting us. So we were like, at the beginning we were like, oh God, this is actually doing really well. We're gonna have to work. I mean, we had this plan all along, but we reinforced what was our initial intent, which was we have to work hard. Now we really have to push. We have to work hard because now we are creating. We are actually part of this something that can be super cool, which is that we're creating little relationships with people. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to work really hard. So, and I find the surprises that can give you, I find that amazing. I think that that's something incredible. But I would never, still to this day, suppose that I know what's going to sell. So don't think that for a second. Trust me here. We don't know that. So even if we've sold 200 paintings before, we have no clue what sells.
Vincent.
I think that was a little too long for that, but.
Vincent says his daughter is in bed. So
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay, thank God.
How would you describe color to a blind person?
Oh my God, these questions. What are these questions for the end? Are these like end of the year questions? Oof, how do you describe that? Like the abstract sense of, my God. One time I was, I'm gonna answer this without answering it. But when we did a week that was about color, and I forget exactly which week it was, but and I'm not working in the computer that we usually worked, but there's a short story by Fontana Rosa. He's a genius, by the way, an absolute genius. So if Camila is listening, she's probably very aware of Fontana Rosa. But he's from Rosario, Argentina. And he used to do this comic strip, and I know this is sounding probably very, very weird, but he created this character who's like the most savage, misogynist, like horrible male chauvinist pig that you've ever seen. I mean, it was all satire. It was all satire. And the coolest thing, the coolest quote unquote, but the coolest thing about Fontana Rosa is that they used to sell his strips, these books of these strips, in the grocery store. So they were right next to like Hagar, or like Peanuts and Snoopy. And my mother I would always tell my mother, and I was with her when I was little, and I would always tell, oh, I want Boogie. That was his name, Boogie el Aceitoso. So I was always like, oh, I want Boogie. And she thought, okay, this is the same as Garfield, basically. And no, Boogie is like the most horrible pig that you could ever read, but it's absolute genius. And I don't want to say like this is like, if you put this under a microscope, like I'm sure that nowadays people would hate it, but it's not. Like this was absolute satire, absolute like obvious satire. Now, granted, how much me as a kid that's like probably 10 years old that was reading Boogie would understand that satire is actually beyond my comprehension. But I know that my sense of humor and my personality was honestly shaped because I was able to read Fontana Rosa since I was very, very little, very young. I'm sure I wasn't supposed to. Like if my kid was telling me, Samu is 13, but if he, when he was like 10, he was telling me that he wanted to read that, I would be like, no, dude, what are you talking about? Like, no. And Fontana Rosa is also like a writer, an amazing writer at that, and he writes short stories. So he wrote a short story about a new color, the discovery of a new color. And this is just like 2 pages long. This is not, it's very, very short. And in this story, he's trying to describe this discovery of a new color. And it's incredible, because how do you describe a new color? And it just goes to show you that it is as hard to describe this idea for a discovery of a new color to somebody who's not blind than for me right now to attempt to explain to somebody who is blind what color is. Just think about that for a second. Like, imagine we were finally able to see, outside the visible spectrum, the visible light spectrum. So we were able to see outside infrared and outside ultraviolet, and we can now see, like, the way some birds actually see and the way some insects see. We are now capable of seeing what they see, of looking at those, colors. The word wouldn't really mean anything at that moment, because I'm sure they wouldn't really fall upon the category of colors. But imagine that. Imagine being able to do that. And the thing is, we can't imagine. We can't, because rationally we have no way of understanding. It's almost like thinking of what the fourth dimension is. We have no we have no ability, no rational ability to understand what a new color would be. So how will we do that? Like, that's impossible. That's absolutely impossible. So, it's the same thing. You ask me, well, describe it for a blind person. I can't, because it falls beyond their rational understanding. Color is just an absolutely visual medium. And I'm sure we could be like super esoteric and say, no, there's color in music. Yeah, but how do you, redness is the quality, is the nature of being red. There's nothing else. Like, how can you explain redness to somebody when redness is just redness? It's just something that, yes, scientifically we can say, yeah, it occupies this space of that wavelength. That's the easiest way to say it. But the nature of something being red, how else can you say something? You can't go, that's why they're primary colors. You can't really just speak about anything else. Like, they are the alpha and the omega. That's a dark reference, by the way.
Have you been to the...
Dark isn't the coolest show ever, by the way.
Have you been to the Berlin Museum to see Menzel?
No, it pains me. That foot. I have to travel and see that foot. That's one of my favorite paintings ever. Top five, by the way. Top 5 paintings ever. Ever.
Buenas, Dani Nicolás.
Buenas, con las buenas tardes.
¿Cómo aprender a controlar sobre las relaciones de color? Recuerdo la frase de Delacroix.
Uy, muy linda, la
de
mejor.
Pintar la piel de Venus con barro.
La mejor. Pero, no, termínela. ¿Cómo se llama la persona?
White Liver, pero él después escribió en inglés la pregunta.
Ah.
Entonces, si quieres, dice, ahí tiene la quote. Dice, I can paint you the skin of Venus in mud, provided,
that's the most important part of that quote. Provided
you to let me surround it as I will.
Yeah.
What does this mean to you,
Nicolas? That's to me, that's the most beautiful, I've said it before, but that's the most beautiful color quote ever. That's color theory in just the simplest of quotes. Now, there's obviously like a Eurocentric, notion there. When Delacroix says, I could paint the skin of like a virgin is this, or a Venus. So virginal skin, virginal, godlike skin, which actually means like this pearlish, whitish, pinkish, if we're trying to understand it contextually. So there's that context of color right there, and he's speaking how he could paint with some of the purest being understood again, super in a Eurocentric way, as this very light, fair color, beautiful fair color, like virginal color, with mud, again, speaking as if mud was like the opposite of like that virginal color, so it's very dirty, provided that you can let him pick whatever, color is sitting right next to that mud. And that's the most important moment of that quote, which speaks about relationships. That's what it's actually referring to. He's actually saying color is, color theory is entirely about relationships. So it's not about painting, the skin of Venus with mud, but it's about saying, I'm gonna place, whatever this mud-like color is, this brownish grayish color. Let's interpret it as such. This brownish grayish color, but I can make that brownish grayish color look like, be perceived as, this beautiful, I guess you would say, saturated, a very pure color, if you let me surround it with, other choices. And, we could do that for an exercise. I mean, we could actually paint that. I just don't like the part where, Venus has to be this white, pale woman, this naked, white, pale woman. That's just a presumption that's very, very very much of the romanticism. So I'm not going to blame, I can understand it contextually. I'm not going to judge it as if we were saying that today. But as a color exercise, it would be fantastic because it would make us, really think. And I've thought about this in my head, honestly, for a long time. Not for a long time, but I've thought about it. I'm not going to lie. I've thought about it, and it's actually a super, interesting exercise, I feel. And I've thought about, what would I surround it with? If it's a very dark mud, because it also says, well, that doesn't mean that Venus can't be in shade, for example. It can't be Venus in shade. So that would give me a ton of leeway in saying, okay, I can actually surround it with darker colors, with much, much darker, colors, so that mud, and I think that would be the most important part of that kind of equation. That mud would be the lightest color in that relationship. So it's actually pretty cool, if you think about it. So that little quote, like almost like unassuming quote, is incredible. I feel it's absolutely incredible. Delacroix was a genius. If you haven't read Delacroix's diaries, journals, they're really, really good. So.
How do you decide how many brushes to use in a painting?
Oh, as many as I need. But we've again, if you've been part of the channel, remember that week that we did single paintings with a single brush. So we have tried to paint paintings with just one brush, and I think we did really well. And every day we used very different brushes. So it wasn't just about using similar a similar brush right after in our second day. No, it was always like a challenge. I mean, I want to make this clear. We don't do challenges like Facebook, Facebook, like YouTube challenges. Those are stupid. Those are dumb. I don't want to do dumb challenges like that. But I want to do. I'm not going to say serious painting exercises because no. But I just don't want to fall on that trap of just thinking that because painting is not cool enough, I have to invent like all these weird variables around it just so that I can make it sound cool. No, painting is awesome. Like, no, I don't need to make it sound better or cooler than what it actually is. To me, it's incredible. To me, painting is amazing. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm telling you guys right now that I'm not going to do that. So. But yeah, as many as I need, and which, if left to my own devices, means I'm going to grab all of them.
AJ has a question.
AJ.
She says, in the past 2 years, I've noticed that you paint multiple figures in your paintings 3 times. Each time was of fair and sound. Otherwise, your portraits are of only one individual at a time.
What? Oh, this is great.
Salen 2 personas.
Oh, so if.
Cuando pintas alza muy feo.
Oh, wow.
Y dice.
Here's AJ with the numbers.
And I'd love to hear you speak about your intention behind this.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm typing with gloves on. Porque estaba pintando.
I can't do gloves. AJ knows this about me because we met at a workshop. But AJ, by the way, super, super nice. One of the nicest people I've ever met. You know what? You just pointed that out to me, AJ. I have to be super honest. I had no idea that that's something that I did. I'm going to come clean and say, I didn't know. You know what it is? Probably it probably speaks about just this intimate kind of drive that I have had over the past couple of years, because that was not the case when I was painting, larger paintings, and there were always people that I know, always those repeating figures. those repeating figures. My Spanish accent, it comes and goes, but it's very difficult, by the way, to do this. To change up accents, oh my God. Anyways, the repeating figures, I wish, I don't know if Inma is listening, but I wish I had Inma's accent, the Spanish accent, that is very, very obvious. So that, every time Inma speaks, they're like, oh my God, that's, Spanish speaker is speaking. But me, when I speak, they think it's an American. And whenever I stutter or stumble or I fumble with my words, they think it's a dumb American. So yeah, that's not easy, but thank you. Anyways, let's go back. I used to paint, these repeating figures, and they were always people I know, always. They've always been like my students or people that are close to me or from my family. I've never kind of ventured off into saying I want to paint somebody who's completely foreign to me. Like that to me, again, this is not a formula, I'm not being dogmatic, but just to me, painting a stranger is very, very difficult. Like, I can paint a stranger, I obviously can, and I can make suppositions of what that person means to me, or not means to me like in the grand, like, existential, sense, but I can kind of try to guess things about that person or imagine things about that person that is posing. But I've always tried to make those people, at least, in as much as I can control, be close to me and feel close to me. So that's always been important. But, I don't know when it happened. I think it probably has to do with me post-divorced, maybe, that I had to go back home for a little bit and actually felt how evident it was to be surrounded again, by my family, understanding my family, not so much again, solely by my kids, but also by my sisters again and my mother. And maybe that prompted me to just turn my gaze inwards. And when I did that, I realized, okay, I'm painting the people that I know and love and that surround me, which are, Danny, after I met Danny, obviously, and I paint my son and daughter, and I paint my mother. And I think, those 4 people are probably the people that have repeated, more than anyone else in my paintings for the last maybe 2-3 years. So, 3 years for sure. So, yeah, it's probably just me saying, okay, I'm going to look inward and I'm not going to look outward, and these are the people that are closest to me, and that's it. And probably they someone fit repeat because they are too, they're my kids. When I say my kids, my mind immediately just says, well, they're the 2 of them. I don't separate them. Like, they are someone fair. There's like a unity to them that I can't ever break. So it doesn't mean that they're inseparable. Like, they both have their own personalities and their own lives, but it means that they are, that they probably occupy the same space in my brain and in my mind and in my heart. So yeah, so whenever I can put the two of them together, it's just like saying, oh, this is beautiful. It's like when you see these two beings get along, and for the people that have kids, but or it doesn't matter, like if you don't have kids, but if you remember your brother and sister, and if you don't have brother and sister, like you with your best friend, like when you see life just saying, oh, these two people just get together really well at this moment. I mean, it doesn't have to happen all the time. It's just beautiful. So whenever I see them, I guess in a way interacting with each other, and it just all feels like perfect. Not you know what I'm saying, like it's never going to be perfect, but it just feels great. It just feels beautiful. So yeah, so probably that's why I'm willing to say, oh, I want to paint them, like this is just perfect. Like that last painting I did of Samu and Fer, where Fer is like leaning on top of Samu's shoulder, where she's just resting her head on top of Samu's shoulder. It was beautiful. When I see that, it's like, oh yes, don't fight, just be. I always tell them, you guys, your brother and sister, you can fight now, but you are going to be the one thing that you're always going to have, in life. So I always tell them, just respect each other and just be nice to each other. It's so cool when they're nice to each other. That that I saw that, and those things break me. I mean, as a father, oh my God, those things break me. So it's nice. It's so nice to see, to try and speak about that and try and paint that. Not even try and paint that. I don't know. I'm not trying to do paintings, to be honest. I'm just trying to reflect upon the nature of that relationship with my kids. I do it through painting because I paint. It's like, yeah, that's what I do. But my aim is not to do a painting, like, honestly. And maybe that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in my head.
Pero muy chévere, yo no me había fijado en eso tampoco.
Yeah. Además, AJ, she's learning Spanish, by the way.
¿Ah, sí?
Yeah. So I'm sure, I think it's hard for her a little bit. It's probably Colombian Spanish. It's a little, you can tell us, AJ, if it's still a little too much.
Nosotros hablamos, no fui capaz en inglés. Nosotros hablamos muy rápido, además.
Sí, yo creo, cuando...
¿Los rolos?
Pues cualquiera. Cuando Inma habla parece un trabalenguas.
Ronnie Aragundi pregunta...
Hola, Ronnie.
Nicolás, ¿qué opinas de las obras de Lucian Freud?
Monstruo. Uno de los pintores más grandes de todo el siglo XX. A veces decimos como de la segunda mitad del siglo XX, pero no, era un monstruo, es un animal. A mí obviamente yo no, bueno, haciendo esto, bueno, no, él tiene unas pinturas, vamos, ¿no? O sea, todo con la medida proporción, bueno. Que iba a decir, no, él tiene unas pinturas donde, pero yo no sé si has visto las pinturas que son de los pedacitos de jardín que él tenía enfrente, y él además como trabaja el natural, o sea, era un monstruo, era un animal, honestamente. Pero lo que yo estoy haciendo acá es solo concentrarme en algo. Yo creo que esta pintura no es acerca de hacer una pintura chévere, bonita, ni nada, no sé, honestamente en este momento no me importa. Pero yo creo que es el ejercicio de volcar la mirada hacia un momento pequeñito y tratar como de desentramarlo es increíble. Mediante la pintura es precioso. Y pues no existe persona más pues fascinante que hubiera volcado toda la vida a la observación que Freud. Freud era un monstruo en eso. Sí, pero sí, definitivamente de los mejores artistas del siglo XX. O sea, está ahí con cualquiera que le pongas del siglo XX, con Hopper, con de Kooning, con cualquier artista que le quieras poner así como del siglo XX.
Te mando saludos, Max Monroe.
Oh, hey Max, how are you?
Hace rato, pero es que me demoro mucho.
No, muy mal. Max is killer, by the way. You have to follow Max. She is an insanely good, draftswoman. She kicks major ass. I had a chance to meet Max in one of my workshops, but I wasn't teaching her anything. She was just so freaking good. and she's made sacrifices which I admire like enormously, about her own like education. She's been super intelligent about, you know, taking workshops from people that she respected. I'm not saying that she respected just because she took a workshop of mine, but because I also knew the other workshops that she took and how much it meant for her. But she kicked ass. Like when I met her, she was really, really awesome, and she showed us. I remember that little moment where she was showing us, you know, the markers that she was drawing with, and the pad where she was drawing with, and the brush pens and stuff. And she's amazing. She's incredible. So, you know, huge respect for doing what you're doing, Mags. And I think you've done super, super well. You've grown like crazy. Well, not grown vertically. And I say this, you know, Danny's probably, you know, shorter than you, but no, dude, you're quickly, you know, or you have become like an insanely cool artist, and I know that tons of people just look up to you. So super awesome, super proud of you. I had nothing to do with it. This is by no means me taking any credit. No, this is all you, and you've done like super, super well. So I'm crazy happy for you.
Ronnie Aragundi preguntó en inglés. Dijo, what do you think about Vincent Desiderio making paintings that are unsellable according to him? Love you, Nick.
I wonder how true that is. You know, because I think I remember in Forum, you know, it's not like he did a show and nothing sold. No, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I'm sure that he's probably exaggerating and speaking about how improbable it is for certain paintings of such scale, by the way. I mean, the scale of some of his paintings, and this is entirely by choice, is enormous. I mean, a lot of his paintings are huge. You know, a lot of the triptych paintings are enormous. So, yeah, that's always going to be hard. It's always going to be hard for many reasons. It's going to be hard because who has the space to hang something like that? So there has to be like special collections, and I'm sure that Vince, you know, Vincent is you know, he's a person. He's a caliber of an artist that can, you know, be in any museum, and you know, museum collections should buy his paintings. I'm sure that particularly, you know, private collections also buy a ton of his work, but. You know, he's that sort of painter that can completely be part of many, many museums that have contemporary collections. So yeah, but that, and they're bound to be very expensive. Those large paintings have to be, I presume, I mean, they have to be about $400,000, $500,000 each, maybe more. So yeah, when he says unsellable, it's because, and I'm not giving him a hard time, he's a genius, he's an absolute genius, but yeah, it's not like when you or I say unsellable. For us at this moment, when we say, oh fuck, it didn't sell, it's $250. You know, that's the source of our, you know, of us feeling like insecure about not selling something. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the amount of work he puts into, and the years maybe, he takes, or months or years that he puts into making a painting. Oh yeah, for sure. Does he deserve every cent of those, you know, $500,000 that he's selling? Hell yes. You know, he is that great of a painter. I still think that art is just unnecessarily expensive, and you know, that amount of money is just kind of abstract. And when money becomes abstract, it means that it's just maybe it's a little too much. At least that's me. That's the way I think. So, you know, nobody has to agree with me. That's totally fine. But does he deserve it? Sure. I'm sure he deserves it. Is it going to be hard to sell? Hell yeah. I mean, anything that's $500,000, it's hard to sell. So I can't imagine something being $500,000 and saying like, yeah, this was cake. This was easy, you know. So again, this is choice. This is by choice. He's making those large paintings. And even though he teaches, I don't know if he's teaching at... I know he was in some way connected with New York Academy, but I'm not super sure. if that's his sole job. I don't think so. I mean, as good as the New York Academy can pay him, I'm sure it's not enough. I'm sure that, you have to do something else. So so he's probably selling paintings. It's just he's probably speaking about how difficult it is to sell some paintings like that, and that they're not, at least obviously, commercial. There has to be like a willingness to be part of an effort to kind of like collect that sort of work when you buy a painting of his. So I'm sure it's not at all easy. But again, I'm sure he sells. I mean, if you sell one of those every year, that's pretty good. If you sell one every 2 years, that's still making like what, 125,000. He gets half of it. So let's say he sells for 500,000. You sell one every 2 years. That's $125,000 a year. That's not bad. I'm sorry, but that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Like, we can live with $125,000 a year. If you don't think we can live with $125,000 a year, ask any young artist that's coming out of college if they think they could live with $125,000 a year. Just say that.
Esteban pregunta.
Teban.
No.
Ah, qué pena.
Esteban en inglés.
Esteban. Esteban.
Probably. No, ya empecé el mal. Bueno.
The ye who paints.
No. Probably get asked this a lot, but you think art school is necessary and self-taught, but always felt like I've missed out. Also, don't want to get into more depth.
I was speaking about Mags, and Mags is actually, you could say self-taught, because she hasn't been part of like formal, institutional kind of education, but she has taken also workshops around the U.S. and she's been super intelligent with her choices. I'm not saying intelligent because she took mine again. I think intelligent because I talked to her and I understood that she was, I think she's intelligent as in kind of this emotional intelligence. Like, she was intelligent enough to identify what she needed, and she was like, I think I already know what I'm looking for with my education, and she seeked that, and that's amazing. But that's not the case for everyone. Like, the truth is that not all of us can have that degree of certainty. So I think that school is actually, it's in many ways it can be very good for you when you're not certain, or it can honestly be like super ungrateful when you're not certain, because usually teachers, and I include myself, again, even though I'm not I'm a former university teacher, but we tend to be horrible when grading, when evaluating, and we tend to associate with like the lack of certainty with weakness, and that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but there's no other way of putting it. But so in many ways, a good school can be pretty nice to you, and it could offer you possibilities to feel comfortable enough so that you can figure those things out in a timely fashion, figure things out that you don't really know about yourself, and that's awesome. And in other ways, again, it can actually reprimand you for it, and it can tell you that you're weak and that you don't know what you're doing, and that you should be working harder at trying to understand what you're trying to say a lot more. So it's kind of bullshit in that sense. But to me, again, all those things are great, but I always go back to this, and it's like a broken record, and I don't want to sound terrible. I'm sounding like Bernie, I feel. But it's not fair. It's like top 1%. No, it's just that it's not right. It's not right. The amount of debt, student debt, that the U.S. is in, and which is, again, it's just one of the most abstract things that you can never wrap your head around. It's just insane. And what what tuitions cost nowadays is just, again, irrational almost. It really does feel irrational. It feels almost like they have no idea how the world works. Like, they have no idea what regular people make every year. They have no idea what a regular job means, and they have no idea what regular expenses are. Not just like, oh, we're going on vacation. No, just regular expenses. The regular, living expenses of a normal kind of family that's trying to help their, kid go to college. It's almost like they're either blind to it and they don't give a crap, or they don't care, or they just really, they don't give a shit. And either way, it's not, I can't justify any of that. So it's too expensive. It's too expensive. There should be, if those schools existed, like the one I went to, if those schools existed, that's fine. But if there's also alternatives where you can, go to a school and you can get a scholarship, full scholarships, and it's easy, or they can cover your education and it's free and it's of good quality. It's a good quality education, which means that there has to be good teachers there, good, honest, hardworking teachers there. Then that would be amazing. That could change the entire planet. I mean, good teachers can change your life. They did for me. I'm not saying because I did it. That's nonsense. But because they did for me. I don't know. It's a bigger problem than just saying like, oh, should I go to school or not? No, it's unfair. Right now, it's just horribly unfair.
Someone told me last year that not sharing an image of them I did in my sketchbook was selfish withholding. What do you think we owe our subjects?
Not sharing, as in, I think I understand, but not sharing in what sense?
De pronto no mostrárselo a esa persona o no.
Like not sharing it in social media, or not sharing with that person, like not giving it to that person. If you can clear that up, I could probably, give you a better take on that. But I'm not entirely certain what you mean in sharing.
What are the others than Menzel Food for your favorite paintings then?
Oh, so we talked about two of these because it was probably Aaron. Aaron has the dumb, awesome questions always. So thank you, Aaron. You're priceless, dude. So he asked, I think it was Aaron, that he asked like if you could just, walk out of a museum or just book it and make a run for it with two paintings, with any painting, which one would it be? And I think probably my favorite painting, I have to say, and it's probably the painting that has affected me the most, is a tiny, it's smaller than this. It's actually smaller than this, spread, like moleskin spread. Painting of just this little naked kid that's lying on the grass. That's at the Prado, at the Museo del Prado in Madrid. That painting kicks my ass. That painting is just insane. I mean, I can't even begin to express the feelings that I get when I see that. That's like one of the most precious things I've ever seen painted. So that one to me is just killer. Rembrandt, I have to put a Rembrandt there because to me that he's the greatest painter ever. So, and to me my favorite Rembrandt is Hendrik bathing in the river. That one's insane. That's at the National Gallery in London. After that, the big one. If I have to pick a big painting, so because there's large, colossal paintings throughout our history that are amazing. To me, the most complex and most beautiful large painting is Raft of the Medusa by Géricault. So that one for sure, but I can't walk away without, I have to kind of bring a box cutter and cut it and just make a run for it. But that's it's too large. It's a little too large to run away with. The Menzel Foot for sure. I had already done this. Menzel Foot for sure. And the fifth one, I don't know if that one was my choice, but I'm going to say it is now. Cello Player by Edwin Dickinson. Can I say that one? I don't know if that one was in my original 5, I don't know if I picked something by Goya. Oh, the dog. No. Fuck. Oh, this is hard. This is like picking. This is like when Fed asks, okay, who do you love most? Me or Samu? Just be honest. Who do you love most? Yeah, the dog. Goya's dog. I have to put that in there. Ah, fuck me. I have to take out Dickinson. That's not right. That is so not right. Yeah, but Goya's dog. That painting. Come on, dude. That's the most fascinating. It's not the best painting in art history, but it's the most fascinating painting in all of art history. In all of art history. Could you imagine? I like, by the way, that we're talking informally today. But could you imagine landing, like, if you were like some alien race and you just landed on Earth and they sent you and they told you, you gotta investigate, like, you know, the cultural drives that this, you know, species has. You have to tell us what you learned, you know, all the information that you gather. And you go to, like, okay, they say that one of the largest museums, you know, one of the most beautiful museums in the world is the Prado Museum in Spain, in Madrid. I'm going to go there. And you go there and you go to the basement. I forget if they're still at the basement, but, you know, it's not like the basement, like, you know, there's a furnace in there or anything, but, you know, lower levels. So you go to the lower part and you see, and the first painting you see, you're this freaking alien. First painting you see is Goya's dog. It's just this mound, this earth, with this dog sticking out its head, looking at nothing. And you're like, if you're an alien, you're like, what the fuck? You know, what are these people? What is going on with this species? I mean, yes, they pollute, they eat way too much meat, you know, they're mean, they're racist, they're sexist. But they also paint fucking dogs sticking out their heads, like out of a mound. What the hell is that? You know, the other things, the dude probably says, like, those are predictable. They're just assholes. You know, it's a species made out of assholes. But the dog, nothing. Tell me another painting that's as weird as that one. Just incomprehensible. Just absolutely irrational.
La tuya del bebé.
Oh, yeah. Danny says the baby. Fist pumping baby. Again, yeah. Yeah, if the alien says, like, and then I saw a fucking fist pumping baby, and he's probably like, okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, let's go to another planet. Enough.
Gabriel Iván pregunta, ¿qué piensas de Neo Rauch?
Un bárbaro, ¿ah? Un bárbaro. Él también tuvo, pero sigue teniendo una influencia también grandísima sobre el resto de pintura hoy en día. Y creo que ahora es el director de la escuela de Leipzig. Pues él es de la escuela de Leipzig, pero de esa universidad que hay en Leipzig de arte, él creo que es el director. Porque sé que von Kaufmann es algo de dibujo, anatomía, es un poco de cosas así, pero creo que Neo Rauch es el director, full director. Pero sí, es un monstruo. O sea, hay cosas en la pintura de él que me fascinan, cosas de dimensiones, de escala. O sea, parecen como unas civilizaciones post apocalipsis, como radioactivo. Es como muy bomba atómica, que si explotara la bomba atómica, o sea, full como 80s, Guerra Fría, y todo se volvió mierda y el mundo es lo más extraño del universo, y ahora entonces existen personas chiquiticas, existen antropomorfos, existen un montón de cosas así re extrañas. Ese yo creo que es como el universo que hace él, que se me hace genial, como buscando energía, como que o es como Dune, pero en vez de las especies es como la lucha es por la energía. Bueno, qué estúpido, eso es lo que es el mundo hoy en día, pero no sé, es como, sí parece como post apocalipsis de energía nuclear o algo así, no sé.
Jen, que era la persona que preguntó lo del sketchbook, de no mostrar la imagen.
Okay, go ahead. Yes,
Claro.
Jen. Okay.
Dijo not letting them see the image if it's unsuccessful.
Okay. Yeah, but I think, Jen, to be super, super honest, we have to be honest here. But I think that has to do with us more than than it has to do with them. I mean, because we can understand it super easily why we don't want to show an image. It's because we feel insecure and we feel it's ugly, and we feel that there was like a sense of expectation coming from that person after posing or not posing or just, but they have a natural sense of curiosity of saying, oh, how did it come out? Like, and they're not us. Like, if it's us, like, I know that if I'm painting like an artist and they ask me and I say, dude, it fucking sucks. Like, I had a horrible time. I had to repaint it. I'm going to be like, okay, dude, fine. Yeah, you don't have to show me. That's totally cool. Like, I totally get it. I'm never going to force anyone into showing me something that they don't want to show because I know how that feels. But, you know, if somebody is like, oh, you drew me? Oh, can I see? Like, I think that's just a natural sense of curiosity, and that's totally fine. It's not entitlement. I don't think it's like, oh, you feel like just because I drew you, like, you know, you have the right to the representation of your body, and now you are forcing me to show you. No, I mean, in a way, it's almost like the same way that people tell you, oh, please don't draw me. Like, I've had that in the past where you're sketching in the train and somebody just says, dude, you know, somebody catches you drawing them and they're like, hey, could you not draw me? And, you know, this would happen a lot in New York, and people are, you know, people have no qualms with just telling you, just being super, you know, honest and loud. And it's like, are you fucking drawing me? Like, stop it. Yeah, what am I, a monster? What am I here for, your enjoyment? Like, am I weird? You know, people are strange. People are very strange, but I got plenty of those. I got people that got mad, like crazy mad when I was drawing them. But I think we have to understand that. That's totally fine. And you could just be like honest. You could just be, dude, it sucks. You know, I'm not happy with it, and just show it to them. You know, maybe they see something cool, or you're gonna be, or you probably say, I'm gonna you know, trash this drawing. I'm gonna throw it out, and they can say like, oh, would you mind giving it to me? Like, if you're gonna throw it away, I actually like it. So we shouldn't. I think what that comes down to is that we are making decisions for somebody else. You know, we are already supposing that this is horrible and this doesn't mean anything for this person. How could it, you know, if it's that bad? The last thing in our mind should be like, oh, I shouldn't do this because now there's a drawing out there in the wild that sucks. You know, there's evidence of how much I suck. Oh, come on. We should never be concerned about that. I'm not saying that that's what you're concerned with, but all I'm saying is like, you know, what you're saying is only spurred by our insecurity. I'm not calling you an insecure person. Don't take this like personally. Like, we all go through that. But we have to, like, you know, we have to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to show you. Just be super normal about it. Just say, yeah, it's, you know, it sucks. I'm going to show you, but it sucks. So don't be disappointed, please. This is tough. Like, I'm just starting. This is tough. Don't be mad. Don't be disappointed. Because it speaks about our biggest fear of judgment, you know. But those tiny little moments, I would say, are super necessary for us, because they are going to train us into what is going to be a lifelong list of rejections. So the quicker you can get like a thick skin, the better, right? Because after that, you're gonna go, you know, you're gonna be rejected by scholarships. You're gonna be rejected by school, you know, whatever they, you know, money they can give to young students. For me, it was grants. So you're going to be rejected by grants. You're going to be rejected by a group show gallery where the curator is doing, you know, is picking paintings. There's going to be so many moments in your life where people are going to tell you, nah, we don't like what you do. We think it's dumb. It's immature. It's not ready. You know, I'm sorry. You're not good. You know, you're not ready for this. And we have to take it. We have to take all that bullshit. So this is just a tiny little moment. It's a tiny moment on a train or, wherever you felt, that, and I'm hoping, I'm giving the dude, or, whomever told you, that they wanted to see what you had done, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't just idiots, that they weren't just being rude or, but yeah, rip that Band-Aid off just very quickly. Don't think about it. Just say, yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I gave it my best. I'm so sorry. And you just show it to people, and that's it. I'm certain nothing weird is going to happen after that. What are you going to get? Like, just a bad look? Like, oh yeah, that looks like shit. It's like, yeah, I already knew that. Thank you for confirming that. Like, but the image doesn't need their validation either. That's where you have to be super strong. You have to tell yourself, I was doing this for me. So, regardless of what they think, this was for me. This I'm doing for myself. So it doesn't matter if they like it or not. And if you are able to say that, like, believe in it. If you're able to say, yeah, what you think about it doesn't, I'm sorry, and maybe you sound like an asshole by saying this, but I'm not saying you, we, but it doesn't, we can't care about what they think in that sense. It's not like they are the ones that are gonna validate our process. So if they like it, then we just go home and we're happy and we thought we had a great day. And if they don't like it, then we're distraught and destroyed and we don't want to paint and we now question, our ability and everything that we do. No, it's neither one of those. Like, this process just belongs to us. So yeah, just show that person and say, yeah, I think I could have done better, but it was just a little too tough for me today. So yeah, that's it. Or just blame it on them. Just say, yeah, dude, you didn't fucking stay still. What do you expect? Like, come on. If you're gonna pose for me, just stay still.
Wilson pregunta, cuéntanos del tatuaje de tu mano, por favor.
El otro día conté, Wilson, me siento como... Sí. Pero, le cuento rápido, la versión resumida, Wilson, así. Son vacas por mi papá, porque mi papá era veterinario. Entonces, después de que murió, pues quería algo que me acordara de mi papá. No era perfecto, pero pues era mi papá. Y son, cada una de esas vacas es un dibujo súper mal hecho. Y pues, o sea, mal hecho en el sentido más adorable del mundo. Porque son un dibujo que hizo Fer y un dibujo que hizo Samu más o menos a la misma edad. Yo guardo todos los dibujos de ellos. Entonces lo hicieron más o menos como a los 4 años, cada uno de ellos. Y entonces el de Samu es como un toro que tiene tetas y tiene 5 patas. Y el de Fer es una vaca que en vez de manchas tiene rayas y tiene 3 patas y tiene pestañotas. Pues yo sé que todas las vacas tienen pestañas, pero... y me los puse en los brazos opuestos a donde tengo como el resto de los tatuajes de ellos, para que se compensara, o sea, que el mundo de Samu no es que pertenezca al brazo derecho mío y el mundo de Fer al izquierdo, sino que como para decirles, miren, ustedes también son parte de mi mundo, o sea, ustedes son parte cada uno del mundo del otro, incluso en mis brazos. Entonces era como también una cosa bonita como para decirles a ellos. Pero sí, son básicamente esas cosas. Yo tengo tatuajes, pero solamente de mis hijos, de dibujos de mis hijos en los brazos. No tengo nada más. No es que tenga esto y una calavera así con llamas en el culo. No. No es eso. Solo mis hijos.
Any thoughts about Dino Valls, considering that he was educated as a doctor?
Me corcharon.
¿Sí?
You corchated me. No. ¿Quién es?
Acá, mira.
A ver si conozco. Oh, I've seen that painting. I'm not super interested in that sort of painting. I was saying how I didn't really know that artist by name. I'm sorry. That maybe speaks about my ignorance and my shortcomings, and not really about him being worth, your attention. I'm sure that if you're mentioning him, it's because you you like his work. Yeah, that's nuts. Wow. What type of doctor was he, or is he? Because I don't know much about him. Him? Am I right in saying him?
Creo que el nombre de usuario no es. Pero me estás diciendo es que him, el pintor.
¿Him el artista y...?
Sí, dice, is a Spanish painter born in 1959 in Zaragoza.
Oh, wow, no lo conocía.
De 61 años.
¿Dino Valls?
Dino Valls, ajá.
Wow, no. Muy como post-surrealismo y realismo mezclado.
Y es self-taught.
Wow. Pero ¿y qué tipo de doctor era? Me da curiosidad, es eso también. Como, o sea, le fascinaba la anatomía, o es que tiene cosas ahí que son como súper... sí.
Un cirujano.
Cirujano. Qué loco, ¿no? It's so weird because doctors, if I think that the profession that intersects most with art, for some reason, is doctors. Always, you always meet somebody who's a doctor, a nurse. It's just somebody who's worked with the human body, that says, oh yeah, and I paint, and they are actually very decent painters or sculptors, and it's quite fascinating. But I had never seen this guy's work. It's not something that I would. I'm going to be super, super honest. It's not something that I would just naturally tend to go for. I think that sort of imagery, that sort of post surreal, just really inundated with like very cryptic imagery. I mean, I know there's probably a narrative underneath there, but I just don't understand it. That sort of work just pushes me, rejects me in a way, and I in turn kind of reject it also. I know I hope I'm not sounding like super unfair, but I don't know. It's just that, at some point we can accept, all the value that, all this other, all these things have, but we also have to say, yeah, but this is not for me. And I think, as soon as I saw those images, yeah, they're fucking insane. That's a crazy amount of work. But yeah, they're not for me. I think I'm a different sort of painter. And again, I think that what makes them, hard for me to digest is the fact that I just don't know what role I'm kind of playing in them. I just don't get it. And maybe you don't have to get it. You just have to kind of play along. But yeah, it just feels like post Luis Buñuel. Post just very weird, almost irrational, surrealism. And it's a little hard for me. Plus, it's very tight, very, very tight. I mean, a crazy amount of information. So maybe that's the doctor. Maybe that's the rational part of the doctor just coming through.
Hi, Nicolas.
Ajá. Así me llamo, Daniela.
Is there a method according to which you interpret the hues of a photo? Example, the shadow colors on the white surface, and how do you choose which areas to emphasize in terms of saturation?
Yeah, no, I think it's like traveling. I mean, I'm gonna give you like probably the most. I mean, it's an honest answer, but I hope, and I hope you can get something out of it. But I also feel it's I don't know how useful it's going to be, but I feel it's like I just sort of navigate through the painting, and I try, and that's what I've been doing, by the way, for the last couple of hours. It's just kind of floating through the painting, just asking myself, oh, should I land here and just investigate this tiny little moment a little bit more? And that's about it. I think all I've done is do that throughout the painting. And I like it. Honestly, I don't know how, good or bad this painting is. I don't care to think about these paintings that way, but it just gave me a chance to talk during today, which is awesome. I think it's a nice way to finish our first year. So I love it. I think it's been a perfect opportunity to just talk while I paint. So, and I'm not just trying to solve something, but I'm just trying to, like wander around the painting. Maybe it's the best way to describe it. And I'm asking myself, oh, do I want to stop here, or do I want to keep, going? And I know at some point, like right now, at some point, I tell myself, oh, these are such kind of small decisions. I don't even know if they make sense in the wholeness of the painting. And I think that's probably like the biggest risk that I take when I stop. It's just like, oh, do I want to pay attention here? And if I pay attention in this little space, is that going to be way too much attention, like unnecessary attention? Yeah, and so it's trying to find a balance throughout the painting, but I love that, and what's the oh fuck. Sometimes I think I'm gonna scrape something and it'll glide, like I can actually spread the paint, like, and no, I end up lifting the whole thing entirely. It's such a weird thing, like that I haven't really understood about paper yet, or at least this paper. Sometimes it's very nice and it lets me kind of push paint around, and other times it's like, okay, if you touch me, I'm gonna lift every single thing that's around this bit of color, and literally the paper shows up. So, but yeah, so it's hard. I don't know, it's very instinctive for me, maybe, and that's why I was saying, like, maybe my answer is not going to prove to be useful to you, because maybe there's nothing that I can say, oh yeah, these are the rules that I use for this. No, it's just purely navigating, like traveling through the painting and saying, oh, I want to stop here, but the decision, how is the decision here going to affect the rest of the image? Is it going to do something or not? And for now, it's just, I like it. It's almost like as if I'm just this little bird, and it's just kind of, floating around this thing, just trying to get a sense of all these like tiny little things that are happening throughout the painting. And I'm fine with it, it doesn't have to be this amazing little moment. And I like that I'm approaching it in a way that I would approach it as if I was painting right there, from life. I'm trying to get that sense of this little tiny moment just existing there, and I was just honing my attention, in this little space, and I like it. I like that. So,
Don Nico, ¿qué tal la pintura del uruguayo Ignacio?
Oye, es un genio. Lo mencioné el otro día como de esos pintores latinoamericanos que me fascinan. Es increíble. Es que a mí, por ejemplo, y eso lo estaba pensando mucho, pues bueno, Iturria me ha gustado siempre, pero cuando estábamos haciendo como un ejercicio que hablaba de escala, hay cosas de Iturria que hace con la escala y con las relaciones de escala que son geniales. Sí, es increíble. Y es todo, ¿no? Tiene todo. Pintor, escultor, o sea, súper completo, una visión que no es, yo odio decir estilo porque no es estilo, pero es una visión como que afecta a cualquier cosa que él haga. Es increíble.
Can you walk us through a typical day for you and Danny?
Typical day?
Pregunta Mark Nelson.
So if we're painting and if we're working in the morning, we have to, I always wake up earlier than Danny. Danny sucks at waking up early. She's gotten better. She's giving me a look now. So she's gotten better. I'm afraid. So that was me just running for my life here. But yeah, I wake up early because one, because of the kids. If we're with the kids, they have school very early, so I wake up 5:45, and I wake up Samu because he's up first. He has to be in school first. Then I take a shower, and then I wake him up. Then I wake up, after he's done with the shower, I give him breakfast. Then I wake up Fer, so she takes a shower. Then I give her breakfast, but 7 o'clock Samu is in school, so he's got to be already connected.
Yes, ahora me levanto.
And Danny is up. Yeah, she was like, okay, so I'm up at that moment. So yeah, Danny. The thing with Danny is that she used to work at a bar, and her cycle, her sleeping cycle, was so messed up, was crazy. So it took us, and it was so weird for us at the beginning, because she would be like, oh, I'm so, I just woke up, and I'm like, Danny, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, what are you doing?
Pero eso era cuando estaba
That's crazy.
trabajando.
No, but that's when she was working. But
Porque
eventually,
llegaba a las-
she quit the bar. It was just too heavy. It was just too hard for her to manage, like, that whole schedule. So it was really cool for her, because she could actually now concentrate on her work and just live like a regular human being. But yeah, so if we're working in the mornings, which I think throughout the year, we had started with working in the mornings, and we work with natural light. And I don't know if you guys, because right now it's getting a little, it's not getting darker, but you can tell that the sun is setting. But we work with natural light. We have 2 lamps, but they're supposed to be like, lamps that actually help just with, flooding light into this room. But at some point, it was very hard, because we realized that all our windows and the ones in our apartment that was where we used to that we used to rent, that was right next to this one, all the windows faced east also. So when the sun came up, it was like super bright and warm, very nice. But also all that light would come in the morning. So there's a lot of paintings where we were painting in the morning that had it was super hard for Danny just to try to find a white balance that could be maintained throughout the whole session. So in many paintings, you guys don't even notice that, and that's like the saddest part about editing, is that if it's a great job, you guys don't even notice. But she did a lot of hard work just trying to balance the light, so it doesn't look like it's warm, it's cool, it's warm, it's cool, like constantly. So we started thinking, okay, we can I can actually paint other like smaller projects that I have in the mornings, and we can paint in the afternoon. But that still means like Danny has to be working, like at 8 o'clock she's already working. And by that time I'm already painting whatever else I'm painting, and we start recording after lunch. So we started recording after lunch. We started trying that out, and it was actually pretty cool. It was actually very good. At least the light was a little more stable in the afternoon.
We have lunch super.
Oh, we have lunch.
early.
Yeah, we have lunch like
Like
this is
a
like a
breakfast.
geriatric hospital here. So, and that's just me. I'm the geriatric side of the relationship. So that's me. I'm not imposing myself. But dude, when you wake up like before 6, come on, like at 12 I'm like starving. I am starving. So I know this may be weird. This is even weird like here in Bogota. But
it's not that.
it's not that weird. If you go to my home, to my family, like we're all the same. Like at 12, we're like, okay, we gotta have some lunch. Like this is, but it's because we all like wake up super early. Like all of us. Well, not all of us. I have like sisters. Like one of my sisters doesn't. But so we could. And, there was a time where we felt like super ashamed of ourselves. We were like, when you are trying to not accept that you are hungry at 12 because you don't want to be that person, it's like, are we gonna be old like right now? Are we admitting that we are right now old people? Do we want to take that step? There's no walking this back. There's no way back. So it probably took us some time until one day we looked at each other and we're like, fuck this, we're hungry. Like it's 12, it could be 11:48 and we're like, we're having lunch. Like we don't care. It's like we are not We are not going to be subjected to society saying that you can't have lunch at 11:48. We are not. So if you want, it's just resistance. It's a show of resistance. You know, fuck the state, fuck your laws. We are having lunch at 11:48. So we can have lunch early, and it's totally cool for us. It totally works. We are totally fine with that. And after lunch, we set up and we start about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we go. It's pretty good because if we take like 4 hours to paint, it's going to be 6. So we're going to have enough light, enough daylight that doesn't really change up until that moment. Like that's so 4 hours of painting. I think it's pretty good for the paintings that we do. That's my sister calling me.
But
yeah, we shouldn't put her on. I put my mother on yesterday. She was brilliant, by the way. She was amazing. My mother is incredible. It's one of the coolest human beings in this planet. But I'm worried that my sister is calling. You know what's the coolest thing about my sister's calling, my family calling, when they know I'm doing? Because they know. Sí le hablas Cata. So they know I'm doing this. They know this is my job. Like they love me. They respect everything I do. But they know I'm doing this. They know it. But they're not watching. You know, it's like, oh, that painting looks incredible. Oh, and I'm like, oh, did you watch it? Oh, no. What do you mean, like, watch? We're not going to put your video for hours. We're like, that's insane. I'm like, okay, thanks, fam. That's amazing. Thank you for the clicks. Yeah, you guys are awesome. So yeah, so that just shows me that they're not watching. Nice.
Pero
nice family.
No terminaste.
So
después,
¿Qué me faltó?
After we end the recording, you start recording the voice.
Oh yeah. So if I have to do a voiceover after we finish painting, I have to sit down and record the voiceover. And that takes me a while. I'm gonna have to be super honest. If you've noticed when I'm doing this, when I'm talking like off the cuff, I struggle with my words and I stumble a little bit. And I'm far more succinct when I'm doing the voiceovers. But this would never like my cadence and the way I'm speaking right now would never translate well if that's the way I talked when doing the voiceovers. So they are quite different. So I actually heavily edit the voiceovers, which is terrible. I shouldn't. I should be just every single time trying to be more comfortable with the way I speak, even if I stutter, even if I stumble. Like that should be fine. But I've also found myself just saying stupid stuff. And it's really good to edit yourself because you're like, what was I saying there? Like, what was I trying to say? So it's kind of nice to have that ability to just to think things over, to think it through. Just think things through. Don't just say the stupidest thing that comes to your head. Don't just Twitter things out. Like, don't just, I was telling Danny, this is an actual conversation that we had. I've never had Twitter. The only reason I turned Twitter on, like I created like a user. I had a user, but I think the only reason I had a user was because there was a competition that I was part of that I didn't get in, by the way, that was sharing the results, through Twitter. And I was like, obviously in my mind, I had already won, so I was an idiot. But I was like, I want to know in real time. Like, I want to receive that, that tweet. I want to read it, as soon as they put it up, and I want to see my name. I'm just covered with glory, and I'm like, hell yeah, I won. I knew it. I told you guys, non-believers. And no, of course, none of that happened. But I never used Twitter. Never, ever, ever. Never. And right now, I again opened it because I wanted a PS5, and that's where people were saying that they would share where you could buy a PS5, which is impossible now. But I was like, oh, I want this so bad that I have to like look at Twitter and look at what people are saying just in order to be able to. I'm going somewhere with this, by the way. I haven't, I haven't. I know where I'm going. So I opened it up, and eventually it proved to be helpful because I was able to get a PlayStation, but I kept Twitter open. Yeah, people are like, where the fuck is he going with this?
Sí, estabas hablando de la rutina
But
del día.
yeah, but I kept Twitter open. I know where I'm going. I kept Twitter open, and I started, following people and reading Twitter. Twitter is horrible. It is horrible. It is horrendous. There's nothing redeeming aside from getting the PS4, but the PS5. Sorry, but there's nothing redeeming about Twitter. Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. It's horrible. It's one of those horrible things that I'm certain that we could all do without, all of us. I know that that's how people share news, and I know that that's how people communicate nowadays. I know that. I'm not stupid, but what it showed me, what it proved to me is like, we shouldn't speak. It should be harder to tweet something out. It really should be. There should be like, different moments of posting, things where the app should tell you, no, give this another read. Like you have 15 minutes. We're gonna look at this again in 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes to think things over. Look at it again. There's maybe some things in here that you don't want to say. There's maybe, this is hate speech. You're not this stupid. Take your time. Don't worry. No rush. Take your time. Think it over. Just, proofread what you're about to say, what you're about to commit to. There should be that because, speaking is not easy. Like saying things like hot takes. This is not easy. Things are complicated. Like our answer, whenever somebody asks us a question that's very tough to answer, we should always be like, you know what? Let me think about it. Let me educate myself a little bit more. Let me think about it. Or, does somebody here have a more educated opinion than this? I shouldn't really be talking about this. Can I hear somebody who has like a really good educated opinion on this? Or could I listen in on this debate for a little bit and then maybe form my opinion? Could I do that? That's what normal people do. That's what we used to do. That's what people, that's the way regular people talk. And now it's just like stupid. We're all stupid. So, to just bring it back, I'm bringing it back. So what editing has showed me is that, this is something I love, and this is something I respect, and this is something I adore. And I could be just doing like a dumb little branch here, and this is like a tiny little moment in nature. It's nothing. It's like a painting about talking, and it's a conversation that we've been having, and I've been painting while I'm conversing with you guys, and that's awesome. That's been absolutely amazing. But if I'm trying to prove a point or to say something or to try and share an opinion that may have some academic value, sometimes I say stupid stuff. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, what did I say? Why did I say that? And I have to catch myself saying it, and I have to like go back and say, wow, this is super ignorant. Like I shouldn't have said that. Like, thank God I'm editing because I really shouldn't have said this. And this is not just me being like, oh, nowadays we can't open our mouths and we're afraid to speak and we're afraid to have an opinion. And that goes against like freedom of speech, and you should be able to just say anything you want, even if it's stupid. No, this is not about that. This is about me being momentarily, like, I let something out that was dumb. That was very dumb. That if life had given me a chance to just think it over for like 2 more seconds, I would have been able to make sense of it. And that's what's, that's what doing voiceovers has taught me, that you have to be careful with your words. Like, your words mean something, and you have to be careful. So I've come to appreciate that moment. Even though I hate it. Like, let's be super clear about this. I fucking hate editing, audios and doing voiceovers. Like, I wish I had the eloquence and the clarity to just do it like this, to just really be able to speak like this every time I do a video, but I don't. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna say, and sometimes I have to find, what I'm gonna say through just speaking. So in that sense, it's really nice, but it's also like, it's so tough. But I think, silver lining here, like I found that it is amazing because it teaches you how hard it is to say something, to like speak. It is very, very hard. And we shouldn't expect people to just have like an opinion right away and for their opinion to be perfect and amazing and to say like these super intelligent things. Like that's so unfair, so insanely unfair to just put regular people like ourselves in that position. And that's why, that's where cancel culture comes from, and that's where all these like, just horrible issues come from, because we don't know how to speak, and we haven't realized that it's difficult, that it's very, very difficult. So yeah, so even though I hate it, that's a moment of the day that I really don't appreciate and I don't like doing it because it's, for 20 minutes, it probably takes me 2 hours. This is horrible, but this is so true. It probably takes me 2 hours to edit 20 minutes of audio. That comes from, I usually do 20 minutes, so that's why I'm saying 20 minutes. But it's usually 15 to 20 minutes that come from about 35 minutes of me speaking. So think about that. It's 15 minutes of, oh my God, like what was I trying to say? A lot of it, it's like stuttering. A lot of it is just, finding my way through what I want to say. It's almost as if you were writing something and you just write a sentence and then you just, backspace, and you just have to erase everything and you want to write it again. So it's a lot of that, while I'm speaking. But it's so tough. It's so goddamn difficult that I don't know. So yeah, lessons in all of this, I really like it because it's helped me understand, how awesome it is to just measure your words and to try to speak knowing the weight that your words can carry. But it also makes me realize that stuff like, honestly, stuff like Twitter just should have no place in our lives. It really shouldn't. It's not, because it's not a place where you can learn how to do it. It really isn't. It's a place that condemns you for not knowing how to do it. So that's horrible. That is horribly unfair, I feel. So yeah, I don't know if you guys share that opinion. I mean, you guys can love it, but you guys can love that space. And I totally get it. Like, if it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't have been able, I mean, this is a first world problem, right? But if it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't have been able to get, what I wanted, which was, I want to buy a PS5, and it's impossible. And good people were sharing good information, and I don't have to deal with, idiots trying to resell, a PlayStation for like 3 times as much nowadays. But I'm super ready to just leave everything behind, because so much of it is just plain evil and toxic that nobody should ever be, needing to be connected to Twitter, in life. It just doesn't make sense at all. There's so many other ways to just, we don't do it, and I feel I'm super connected with the people that I love, and with it's not like I'm like, who's president? Like, who won? Biden? What? No, I know what's going on. I don't need Twitter for any of that shit. I know, the things that I like, I'm super aware of the things that are happening. So, I don't need all that bullshit. So I'm ready to just leave all the terrible stuff behind and not, and just care about the good part of my life. I think that, I'm going to be super honest with you guys. I think that we are happy with what we do because we do not have like toxic shit in our lives. Like, it's so easy to be happy. It's so super easy. We don't have bad shit in our lives. Honestly, we don't seek it. We don't stand for it. We don't accept it. That's why I always tell, like, just with good vibes, like I'm telling people, hey, only good vibes today. Like, don't bring your shit here, because there's no place for that while I'm, not while I'm painting, but while we're painting. Who cares? Like, that stuff shouldn't really belong in like a really nice kind of painting atmosphere. So don't bring any of that. If you want to argue, go outside and argue, but don't argue through painting. Like, there's enough arguing that we're doing with the painting. We don't need to argue with another human being while we're like working our butts off. By the way, going back to the painting, I mean, this is like a train wreck. This is like a beautiful train wreck, by the way. This is, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. It almost feels like, oh, you painted that in like 15 minutes, right? It's like, no, that was half of my day. Fuck. But, so it has that almost very simple, very quick, kind of like feeling that I know I wanted this. I wanted to land on something. But this idea that I had to follow this, this little kind of branch here, and that gets fuller with leaves, and it just kind of grounds itself here. I don't think that was very effective. I'm going to be super honest. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's not like this dilemma that we always find ourselves dealing with, which is, okay, this is the painting that happened, but what was it that I wanted to paint? And yeah, there's some sense of this being divorced from my initial intent, and I'm just trying to come to terms with it and trying to see what can I do. First of all, what I don't like is that it's completely imbalanced. I thought it was going to be very, expertly imbalanced. It was going to be off, almost like jazz. There was going to be something dissonant about it in some way, but it felt right. Nope, not here. It just feels like I pushed everything, and I was creating. That's why I brought like a bigger brush, and I was trying to make this edge a little bit more uneven, because everything I had created this stupid illusion of everything just having this invisible edge here. And that doesn't work. That frustrates me, because that doesn't really work. So I'm trying to figure out what to do to make it work, and I think there's a little plastic thing here that I can just put the shadow in there, and maybe that'll give it some balance, and it can throw the painting, at least now it's going to be just far more balanced. It's going to look like an X-shaped composition, and that's fine by me, because even though it's not what I wanted to paint, I think at least it's going to give me a chance for it working, because right now, at least in my eyes, it's not really working. So I'm making some of this up, I'm making up the placement of this, and that's fine. We've gotten to the point where it doesn't matter anymore where I put it, so.
But to conclude.
What, our days?
Sí.
Because I never conclude?
Sí.
Más o menos, fue una conclusión.
Pues.
So our days are full of hard work. We are exhausted by the end. A lot of sacrifice. We are miserable. Really? No. We love what we do. If we didn't love it, we would never be able to do what we do. That the honest truth is that the proof of us being happy with what we do and feeling like we're doing something that's hopefully useful to whomever finds it valuable is that we love it. We're here and we've been talking for how many hours? 4 hours maybe?
2 horas y 47.
What? ¿Qué horas son?
5 y 49.
3 horas y 47.
No, pero dice que llevamos grabando.
No, empezamos a las 2. Empezamos a las 3.
A las 3, sí, 2 y 47.
Oh, wow. Dude, I thought this was like 5 hours. It's felt like 5. Not to you guys, but probably, based on my my painting. But the fact that we're enjoying this process, this moment, is just perfect proof that this is what we love to do. And every day is like hard work, and we are ready to wake up next day, start all over again. So we know that it's a big sacrifice, and we know what happens, that we set for ourselves this goal that we were going to do this for 2 years, because honestly it's just insanely hard work, a lot of hard work, and I don't think the both of us can keep at least this rhythm of working up. We can't really do this for more than that. So we just told each other, okay, we can do this for 2 years. So let's really try and do this for 2 years. And we plan on answering to that, objective that we set for ourselves. So when we wake up, we're tired, but we're also like super grateful, because we know that we've been doing incredibly well. Like, we couldn't have imagined how well, and again, it's what I said, like the way to answer back to the people that are supporting us is just by working hard. So we're willing to do that, and we tell ourselves, okay, this year, this year, what can you say about this year? But this year went by, it was tough. It was, I'm not saying tough. It was obviously tough. It was, I'm not gonna speak about how fucking insane this year has been, but in terms of our project, it's been tough. It's been hard at moments, and I've certainly had my days where I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have no theme, and I enter this like super existential crisis that it's very hard to deal with. Like Danny has a lot of patience, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm a stupid hack. I don't know what I'm saying. I probably like spoke bullshit for like the last 20 minutes in this stupid video. So I'm a mess. Sometimes I'm a mess. I'm gonna accept it. But eventually everything settles, and oh God, now I have to paint some of this. At least block it in, but I have to paint that now because this is floating here. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, so honestly, when we're done, it's like when we can look past those darker kind of moments that are normal. I feel like I've gotten better at realizing that these doubts and these questions that arise from all of this are normal. I even though I love painting, I never had experience just trying to do an exercise of painting like this one. So everything that kind of happened was new. And I was ready, I told myself I'm ready for it. Like, bring it, I can take it. But, as ready as you can be, it's like, no, this is going to be tough, dude. Like, you think you're ready, but it's tough. It's actually very tough. And so I've tried to, learn from it and get used to it. And I think in what that means, when I speak to myself, like, it's about getting used to it. Like saying, okay, it's tough, but now I know how it feels, so I'm not really scared of it anymore. Like I can try and deal with it. Those are our days, and hopefully we'll have, like I said yesterday, we thought we were gonna have 2 weeks rest, and fuck damn it, it's like 1 week. It's only gonna be 1 week. But it's all good. It's all good. We're good. Trust us. We're good. I'm gonna take it easy with my hand, and all I need is just a little bit of rest, and I'll be ready for it. So I'll be ready for New Year's, because we want to start on the 4th. Like I love this idea of people saying like, ah, fuck, like we have so much illusion for this new year. Like we have so many hopes, just because the number changed, and we are that weird as human beings that we put all our hopes in just a number changing. But, we want to believe that, it's going to be better. And we actually take pride in saying, hey, it may not, start off as this perfect year, but we're going to be here for you guys. We are going to keep our promise going, and, the world can be very shitty, but if you guys can count on us just being there for like 20 minutes every day and keeping you company, like we're super happy to be that for people. So, and if it ignites people's, desire and energy to want to paint, or to want to rediscover paint, or to finally paint, you've always, doubted yourself, but now it's like, yeah, now I want to do this. That is awesome. Like that's, by the way, this helped a lot. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like compositionally, it helped a lot. It actually helped, crazy. So I'm happy that I pushed myself to do that. Now I have this empty space that I'm very insecure about. I don't want to touch it, because now if I paint a lot of it here, I'm gonna have this very invisible edge coming down here. And then if that happens, then I'm like, oh fuck it, I have to paint everything. So the idea that I had for painting is going to be gone, but for now it worked. For now it's better. I don't know if it worked, but it's better.
Vincent Delano says, how do you judge the values on your palette when you start? The palette is a muddy mid-tone. The paper is almost white. Isn't it isn't it annoying to see a different value when you lay your first marks?
Yeah, you answered yourself perfectly, Vince. Yeah, it's yeah, ideally my palette should be that value, just so that I can translate one to one, what is happening here, and I can just kind of bring it to the painting, and it won't surprise me. Like, it won't throw me off. Like, I can say, okay, these are the relationships that are working, and I'm going to translate them to here. The thing is, because I work, and this is how I guess I kind of work around it, Vince. But because I work with such a kind of weird, kind of dirty palette based on little puddles of painting, because it's all relational here, I can, even though this will look differently, if the relationships that I'm trying to look for in here work, then they should work here. They're just going to look a little bit different, but they should work. And eventually, when I put stuff down, that's why my paintings many times, they just kind of, it's like a slow burn. They take a little bit it takes a little bit for them to start showing me, how they're actually working. And today was, this was no different than any other painting. It was perhaps like even more evident with today, but it takes a while for them to come together. So even though, the direct translation will not be perfect, if I know that if I keep looking at my palette and if I keep understanding, I know this is a mess, but trust me, this somehow makes sense in my mind. If I translate whatever makes sense here to here, it will eventually show up. It will eventually work. So I have that. Those are the hopes that I always have.
Mm-hmm. Robin West.
Robin.
She said, "You guys are tireless and generous. You have been the best thing about 2020 for sure. I hope you get enough rest and come back fat and happy. Thank you both so much."
Oh, Robin, I'm already fat and happy. So, Danny, Danny's gorgeous. Danny can eat like a buffalo, and I don't know where it goes. But me, I'm the one that has to say, oh, I gotta, I can't eat that bread. I feel everything. I can feel like a nut. If I'm eating like too many nuts, like I'll know which nut was like, oh, that was too many. So yeah, but thank you. No, Robin has been amazing, generous and amazing and kind with us.
And also Corinne.
Oh yeah, you guys are awesome. Like,
she said,
that's why I said like.
Say that very thing. So.
No, that's why I say it's really cool, and I'm not like exaggerating, but it's so awesome to feel like there's a sense of. It's family. It is family. I mean, it's another sort of family, but it is family, like of closeness. Like, this is what binds us, and we have all created like this really cool relationship, throughout this year, and that's awesome. I'm super appreciative of it. So, I mean, we both are. I'm speaking for both of us when I say that, I'm sure, but no. We couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for support. And I'm not just saying support buying a painting, but just support like today, I'm doing like a tough painting. This little tiny painting is kicking my ass, but you guys are here and you guys are keeping me company while I struggle. So that's fantastic. Like, that's amazing. That's family. That's a cool family. So
Daniel Arthur says, "Hey Nicholas and Danny, have you ever been here in Portugal?"
Boa tarde. Tarde. Es que es portugués.
Have you ever been here in Portugal?
No, we have to.
Do you know the artist Enrique? No sé cómo se pronuncia la apellido.
Métele portuñol. No. Trata, así sea, suena ridículo, trata, mándate. Y métele acento portugués.
¿Puso?
No, pero sonó como francés.
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se escribe?
P-O-U-S-A con no diéresis sino la curvita.
Wow.
Y O. ¿Ves?
Pousaio.
No.
Pousaio.
No.
Mándate tú ¿cómo lo dirías?
Pues yo dije puso.
Puso. So Daniel,
No.
Danny went with super French.
No.
And me, I'm going with pusaio.
Pusao.
Pusao. No, so?
Pusao.
No, porque ao es ao.
A ver, yo miro cómo se pronuncia.
Who was closest? Daniel, who was closest? Probably none of us. You're going to say like, oh, you both sounded like idiots.
A ver, espera. How to pronounce
No, I said that never works.
¿Cómo?
Pero tiene una I.
No, P-O-U-S-A-O.
Ah, pusao.
Puso.
Pusao. Sí.
Pero lo conoces
Pusao.
o no? Es que te
Eu
pregunto
falo legal.
que si lo conoces.
Perfect.
Que si conoces.
No. No, I don't know him. I don't, Dan. I'm so sorry. I don't know him. Pero búscalo ahí, me dices.
Ay, Nicolás.
I'm sorry, I stopped painting. I was trying to pronounce something. So I can't. I have like 2 neurons. Like I can't do, all that stuff at the same time.
Es de 1859.
Ah, so it's like a late 19th century painter. Let me see. Oh, that's light. That's nice. Very nice. Yeah, like
Está chido.
like a good 19th century painter, like late 19th century painter. Yeah, that moment was amazing, isn't it? Isn't it crazy? It's so weird how talented people were at that time. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I think out of not frustration, but out of just it's not giving up. But I think in a way I'm
Daniel
gonna say
said none.
none. Yeah, no. Sí, una tragedia. Sí. So sorry, Dan. So sorry. I mean, it probably sounded horrible to you. But anyways. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I know it's a very kind of loose and somewhat abstract little painting. I like it. I mean, it was a struggle. But I'm fine with a painting speaking about a struggle. I mean, that's... If anything, you know what? This is super cool. Because this is a year's worth of painting. We've painted like crazy this year. And, if we had finished up with a painting that is like cake for me, that I know that I could have painted in my sleep and it's super easy for me and I just like, I'm like flying through the painting. It would give me, and it would give you guys, but it would give me also like the wrong impression of what this year was about. And I'm super cool and I'm super happy of just being reminded that, no, this year is tough. Like, this is tough. Painting is tough. Like, this is never ever going to be easy. This is always going to be tough. It doesn't matter how many paintings we do. It doesn't matter, how good you think you are. It doesn't matter. Like, it's okay for a painting to be tough and challenging. And that's fine. So I love that, this was the last painting that we did. I really do. And I love that you guys can see me struggle, while I paint, because it's difficult. It's always going to be difficult. Always. A lot of people always think that I'm exaggerating and like, oh, drama queen, like saying, oh yeah, sure, it's tough for you. No, dude, like it's always hard. It's always going to be hard. So yeah, I think it's a perfect place to finish. And so with that, although let me see, I always do this. I'm always, whenever we record, I'm always like, Danny, I'm done. Danny. So she comes in, she hurries in, and I'm like, I'm done. And the moment where she's gonna stop recording, I'm like, okay, one little thing, like one tiny little thing that never matters. It really never matters. But I'm always like, yeah, I have to. I know I have to just touch this little moment. And sometimes I fuck it up. I'm like, oh fuck, why did I touch? Why did I do anything? Like, just leave it. Come on. So, yeah. But, anyways, but yeah. So I think we're done now. Yeah, we're good. So, anyways, so because this is our last video, we are going to do like a tiny little live video, but we're going to do it live just to show you guys that, when we raffle things off, when we do giveaways, and tomorrow we're going to do our first giveaway. I'm not done with that painting that we're going to raffle, the monthly painting. Sí, si quieres me la pasas. So tomorrow...
Pronunciación.
Pronunciación, no, ya con eso. Pronunciación. Ya sé cómo pronunciarla. So I'm going to take this off just to show you guys the painting that we are going to do the giveaway of. Pouso. Pouso.
No, pouso.
Pouso.
Dijo puzón.
No, puzón. Estás diciendo como puzón. So this is the, I haven't put liquid on it. This is the painting that that I painted for the people that are donating $20 or more. So we're gonna do it until tomorrow. If you donate, after tomorrow, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. But just know that the raffle is going to be tomorrow. We already said this, so I know that I've said this, so people know about this. But if you donate $20 or more, there's this kind of really nice painting of Fer that is going to be raffled off, amongst the people that have donate $20 or more. And we're going to do that live. Just a tiny little, short 5-second video. I have to, I didn't think about this, and I feel like an idiot. But I'm not sure if people are comfortable if I give out their names, and that's not cool. So I don't know if for this first one, hopefully people will understand it, and if they wanted to enter a raffle, they know that I'm going to give out their names. So maybe if somebody's listening and they don't want me, maybe they want to win, but they don't want me to say, Daniela Ocampo won. If you guys don't want, Danny's not going to win. Don't worry. Like, nobody in my family, nobody close to me is going to win. So don't worry about that. But so if somebody doesn't want me to say their names, just send me like a little, message. Just tell me, hey, if I win, just don't say my name. Just use my initials, and I'll contact you.
They can answer the email I send.
Okay.
With the thank you email I send.
Oh yeah. So the thank you email that Danny sends, just email back and tell us, hey guys, if for the raffle tomorrow, just don't use my name. And I know I should have made this more public, but I just thought about it, and hopefully people won't be mad about that. But for the people that bought the painting, that bought the paintings, that there's another painting that we're gonna do a giveaway. What I'm gonna do, and I think that's a easier way and a cooler way. So this is the other painting. What I'm gonna do is actually write I'm just gonna print out like little thumbnails of the paintings. And we're gonna put them in a cap, and Danny or Fer just picks one, and that's gonna be the winner. So if you see your painting, so I'm gonna be like, okay, the person that bought this painting won, and that way we can just work around not having to say somebody's name if they don't want me to share that information. But I think for this one, I'm probably gonna have to do it. So anyways, so this is the painting. It's a nice little painting. We're going to do this throughout the whole year next year. So there's always going to be a painting every month. Hopefully as nice as this one. Not hopefully. I'll make sure that it's as nice as this one. Where we raffle it between, the people that have been super kind. Because we wanted to say thank you to the people that were donating money. So, this is the best way we could think of that we can just say thank you. And we obviously also wanted to say thank you to the people that buy the paintings, that support us by buying the paintings. Not everyone can do that. That's totally cool. So I'm going to be painting a painting throughout the month. So that means that it's maybe a little more, developed and finished and nice and tight. So those people, which are probably going to be, there's a 1 in 15 chance this month, and there's a 1 in 20 chance usually, kind of. Every month, you're gonna have a pretty cool chance. It's actually a really good chance to have an extra painting. So ideally, you just want that painting that you bought, and you don't have to think about it anymore. And by the end of the month, we just raffle a painting, and you have a great chance of. I spit on the painting. My God, you'll have a chance of acquiring another painting, and it's totally free.
Uno de 20.
Sí, más o menos. It's 1 in 15 or 1 in 20. Yeah, every month. So it's a pretty good chance. And, and if you're donating $20, like, you'll have a really good chance to get a painting. I would say don't do it for the painting. Do it because you guys kind of like what we do. I mean, do it for the painting. I'm not telling you why to do it, but if you guys do it because you want to support what we do and you feel, you can donate a couple of bucks every month, like, that's awesome. That's incredible, and we are super thankful. And just think that maybe you're going to get a painting out of it, and that's amazing, and we'll take care of shipping. Like, don't worry, that's all on us. So yeah, because I think you're going to get frustrated if you're like, oh, I had a 1 in 30 chance or 1 in 20 chance of getting a painting, and I thought I could get a painting for $20 and I didn't. I'm not going to support you guys again. Fuck this. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I totally get it. But if you see all the good part in that and say, oh, I'm happy to support you, and if I win a painting, that's awesome. Like, that's in the end, it's just us finding very simple ways of just saying thank you, because this was a super cool year for us, and you guys couldn't have been more, supportive and generous with everything that we do. So next year we want to answer back with just really hard work and just attempting to be, more generous. So that was it for this year.
And also, if you're
Daniela is speaking.
No.
I'm kidding.
Que si pintan, usen el hashtag.
Oh yeah,
Siempre lo reviso.
So Danny's always looking at the hashtag. AJ is super generous, also trying to group the efforts of the paintings that you guys do while we paint. I mean, this is true for this week, but it's also been true throughout the year. You guys have actually said, hey, I've started watching like our Painted Lives videos, and you use a hashtag. Honestly, the thing is, I'm so kind of bad at this, but it's also because I don't like it. I don't like to hashtag. Like, go through my Instagram feed and look for hashtags. I never, ever, ever use hashtags. Never, because I've never paid for money in advertising. I never, I never want to think that because I paid for something then I got, followers. I always think that there's real people behind there and behind the dumb number, because it is a stupid number. That number doesn't, represent any of us. So don't feel offended when I say it's a stupid number. But I always feel that I want to be able to have a tangible, quantifiable relationship with the people that are behind those users and those usernames and those accounts. And this has proven to be just an amazing, example that we can connect with each other. It doesn't have to be a huge number. Like, when we started the channel, it didn't have to be huge. Like, it just had to be regular people working, liking painting. And that's why I don't shove anything down people's throats. I don't try to tell them, hey, hashtag this, or hey, donate, or hey, we don't do that. I think that's not nice. I don't want to do that. I don't want it to appear like the purpose of what we do is just to make money. If anything, we are trying to give people like a nice painting for a fair amount of money, I would say. So but it's not about, I don't want to concentrate on that aspect because it means nothing to me. So I much rather just say, hey, we are a community, and I much rather things happen organically. So if people want to use a hashtag to post their paintings, that's awesome. And many times I discover those paintings and those users, and I'm like, hey, that's a super cool painting, and I'll follow you, just because it's cool that you're part of like this exercise. But I try not to say, hey, what's important about this? Just hashtag us, because in the end you're just, free promoted. You're just doing like free promotion for us. No, that's bullshit. Like that, I don't like that. Like I'm so aware of all the shortcomings and all the just fake, ugly stuff that social media has, that I don't want. I don't want it to be about that. So just share it if you want, and if you want to paint alongside us, that's why I don't force people. Like, if you want to paint alongside, awesome. If you just want to listen in, that's awesome too. That's great. That's super cool. But there's nothing, there's nothing that good that's going to come out of forcing anyone to do anything. So that's why, everything's going to still be free. We're not going to put, ads in our videos. You're not going to see me promoting brushes or paints or anything that's stupid like that. And I've been approached like so much this year from companies just trying to see if I can sell, my stories, space in my stories. And I've never done that. You've seen me. I think that this, past couple of days, the only thing I've promoted outside what we do is my sister. She's selling like these baúles, ¿cómo se dice?
No,
Box?
pero
No.
no es un baúl.
Sí, pero son baulitos.
No sé cómo se dice.
Yeah, she's selling these things. It's like a family, small little business thing that she's doing for Christmas.
No, but this
And
is-
I'm super happy to just help her. So, but that's the only thing. And the other thing that I share in my stories is like when I see a kick-ass painting, I'm like, oh my God, look at her work. Like she's incredible. She's amazing. I should follow her. But I do that out of my own, just amusement, because I'm like, hell yeah, I celebrate, talented, good people, and I'm so happy to do that. But I don't expect anything from it. So yeah. So that's the philosophy that we have, I think, upheld throughout the year. I hope that you guys, through our hard work and through, everything that we put into it, can tell that this is true for us, that this is not just, we're just trying to sell you guys anything. We're not trying to sell anything. So yeah, so you can expect more of this next year. We're going to be consistent about this. The message is going to be the same, and we're going to be working super hard. And if you guys want to accompany us in this journey, remember, we made it through the first year, so might as well make it through the second year. So it's another year. It's bound to be better. Come on, it can't be worse than 2020. So it's bound to be better. And we're always going to be here. We're going to be your company. You can count on us. So I speak for Danny. I think I speak for Danny. I don't like to do this, by the way. She has an amazing voice. I'm not speaking about her actual voice, but what she actually has to say with her own voice. But let me in this opportunity just speak for her, and because I know that we both share this sentiment, and we're super grateful. We can't be any more grateful. We love you guys for everything that you've done for us, and yeah. So this was it for this year. Thank you. We can only end it by saying honestly and deeply and with a very heartfelt thank you. So we're gonna be tomorrow. Remember, small video. If you've donated, just I'm gonna put it Instagram live, probably a small live, or no, yeah, we'll do a live video on Instagram. Just out of the blue, probably like midday. We just have to get everything set up to see how many people donated, and we're probably
So it's
gonna
closing
use.
today, 12 p.m.
¿Cómo?
Closing today, 12 p.m. or
Yeah, it closes today. It's up until the 18th. So just know this. So if people are listening, if you donate money tomorrow, like just know that why I'm doing this way, and why I think it's right, because it's like I stopped working today, and I don't want. I feel weird if people donate money tomorrow. It's like I haven't earned it. I feel like, okay, this is not cool. Like I didn't do anything tomorrow. I'm not gonna do anything tomorrow to earn like your donation. So I feel weird. So I'm in my mind, like the month should end here, because this is when we're gonna stop working. We could have been like really sleazy and say, hey, keep donating and we'll do this on the 31st, and that's not cool. I don't think that's cool. So no. If we stopped working today, then it just goes till today. And that's it. So we'll do a live video just so you guys know that this is going to be live. We can't just pick somebody that we like. We've never ever done this, by the way. Never ever. That's so uncool. That's not, that is not who we are. That's not those are not values that we believe in. So it'll be completely random. If we have to ship the painting across the world, doesn't matter. It's always, honestly, for us, FedEx, it's like either crazy expensive or oh my fucking God expensive. So don't worry, it's always expensive. So it doesn't matter where you live. We don't pick people based on where they live. So yeah, so that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Just, we won't interact with you guys. We're just going to do, hey, this is our live giveaway, and maybe we'll do like little cutouts, and Danny will pick, from a cap or something, blindly pick just a name, and we'll do that. I think that's a, old school but easiest way to do the giveaways. I know there's apps for it, but I always feel weird with those apps. I don't know. It feels kind of strange. So, dime.
No?
So I thought Danny was going to say something.
No, thank you everyone.
En
We
Portuguese.
really...
Ahora en portugués.
¿Qué? Yo no
Di
sé
gracias.
nada.
Obrigado, obrigado.
No, obrigada. Porque
Obrigada,
soy
obrigada, sí.
No.
Es una...
yo. No, pero ya no sé.
Ya no sabemos más.
Thank you everyone for your support. No sé.
Yeah, succinct, to the point, you know. Danny, to the point. If she was doing voiceovers, videos would be 3 seconds long. This is what I painted. Thank you. Bye. Follow me. Ring that bell. Goodbye. So,
no, but for real, we appreciate your company, and it has meant a lot for us. So, like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
that's very nice. She's crying. You can't see it, but she's crying, like genuine crying. So that's pretty cool. So we'll see you guys next year. I mean, we'll see each other in social media, and obviously you can still write to me, and I'll obviously answer back. But we'll see you guys doing this on the 4th, okay? So just keep that in mind. So if you drank too much on New Year's, which who's not going to do that? Not us, honestly. Yeah, we're super boring, so not us. But if you have a hangover, just get rid of it and just be ready to work and paint and be awesome again on the 4th, because that's where we're starting. So we'll see you guys next year. Thank you. We love you all. Bye. Bye. Those are Danny's nails, by the way. Bye.